One day, a cupid named Guri suddenly showed up at Seiji's house. She told him that if he didn't kiss someone soon, he would die. Seiji was bewildered by this stranger who had barged into his home and made such a bizarre statement. He immediately told her to leave, insisting that he didn't meet a Shinigami. Bettany quickly shut the door. He wondered if that was some kind of door-to-door religious preaching or perhaps a new type of scam. However, Guri suddenly phased through the door and told Seiji that he should have listened to her until she finished speaking. Seeing this, Seiji screamed in terror. Guri then showed him a book called The Kiss Note and asked him to take a look inside. As Seiji flipped through the pages, he saw names of different couples written inside. Then on the next page, he saw his own name, which completely shocked him. Guri explained that the names written in the Kiss Note had to kiss someone within 24 hours, otherwise she would die. Seiji tried to kick Guri out of his house again, but she desperately begged him not to ignore her, explaining that if he didn't kiss someone, she would die. She started crying and asking Seiji if he didn't feel guilty for letting a helpless girl like her die just like that. Seiji, however, ignored her and tried to shut the door again, but Guri banged on it, calling him a murderer of love. Fearing that his neighbors might report him to the police, Seiji reluctantly allowed Guri inside and asked what exactly she wanted from him. Guri explained that she needed a kiss from Seiji, which was why she had come to him. At first, Seiji suspected that she was trying to preach about religion or something similar, but it turned out that Guri was just a pervert asking for a kiss. Seiji found it amusing that the theory about girls' sexual desires increasing at a certain age might actually be true. He was surprised by how easily Guri talked about such things, especially since he himself had never kissed anyone before. Seiji then asked if Guri planned to blackmail him after the kiss. She assured him that she wouldn't do that, but she did say that it might be the beginning of the best time in Seiji's life, and that he would ultimately save her with his love. Seiji was completely taken aback by how much Guri seemed to want this to happen. She eagerly encouraged him to start the kiss. For a moment, Seiji thought she was kind of cute, and as a man, he figured he shouldn't pass up this opportunity. They kissed for a few seconds. Afterwards, Seiji asked if Guri was satisfied. However, Guri felt that Seiji had misunderstood something. She then demonstrated the power of the Kiss Note. She wrote down the name of the Prime Minister and the name of the Council President, putting an X between them. Then she turned on the TV. To Seiji's surprise, the broadcast showed the Prime Minister and the Council President kissing. Guri explained that anyone whose names were paired together in the book would end up kissing within 24 hours. Seiji was impressed by the book's power, but he was also confused as to why Guri had chosen to pair two men together. It turned out that she had a habit of making same-sex couples. Guri further explained that the book would have no effect if only one name was written. At that moment, only Seiji's name had been in the book, so nothing had happened to him. For Guri, what had happened between them was just a casual act of affection. Seiji, realizing he had misunderstood the situation, apologized for kissing her. Guri then admitted that she had originally wanted to see a BL, boys love, moment between two voice actors. However, when she attempted to write their names in kanji, she made a mistake and ended up writing Seiji's name instead. Seiji was furious upon realizing that everything was Guri's fault. As an apology, Guri offered to pair him with his ideal man. Seiji was completely confused as to why it had to be a man. Guri also informed him that if one of the names in the book remained without a partner, that person would remain single for life and she would die as a result. That day, Seiji invited Guri to his high school. He asked Guri not to stand out, but she had already activated her opportunistic setting, making her invisible to ordinary people. They began searching for their target. Seiji's gaze fell upon a girl named Akane, who was exercising. He wasn't sure if Akane would be willing to kiss him. Akane called out to Seiji, noting that he had already left earlier. Seiji claimed he had forgotten something. He was delighted to look at the beautiful Akane. Suddenly, Guri mischievously pulled down Akane's pants, confident that Akane wouldn't see her. Seiji was shocked by Guri's actions, but Akane asked Seiji who the cosplaying girl was. Guri was surprised that Akane could see her. Seiji insisted he had nothing to do with the girl. Guri, however, mentioned that Seiji had already kissed her. Akane was startled to hear they had kissed. Seiji clarified that it was an accident. Unexpectedly, Akane declared she would execute Seiji for cheating on her. Seiji was puzzled, as he didn't recall dating Akane. Akane acknowledged they weren't dating at that moment, but suggested things could change in the future, and wouldn't forgive him even if it happened then. Akane threatened Seiji with 2 knives for daring to flirt in front of her. She attacked Seiji with the knives. Fortunately, Guri pushed Seiji away, causing the knife to hit Guri's head. Akane was puzzled why Guri didn't die from the knife wound. Guri asked if Seiji was okay, but Seiji was more concerned about Guri. Akane attacked them again, unable to bear watching them flirt in front of her. Seiji quickly pulled Guri away from Akane. He was surprised by Akane's rough behavior. Guri remarked that Akane seemed perfect for Seiji since they liked each other. Seiji commented that perhaps all guys think the same, that it would be delightful to kiss a girl as beautiful as Akane. But he didn't expect it to turn out like this. Guri reminded him that if he didn't kiss her soon, he would remain a virgin forever. Guri suggested writing another girl's name but worried that Akane would mercilessly kill that girl. Seiji contemplated finding a way to prevent anyone from being killed. He proposed writing Guri's name instead, considering they had already kissed once and that everything happened because of Guri's mistake. Seiji asked if that was acceptable. Before Guri could answer, a knife thrown by Akane from the school rooftop suddenly stabbed her back. Akane immediately jumped down to approach them. Seiji didn't understand why Akane was acting this way, as she had never behaved like this before. Akane explained that she was acting this way because Seiji liked her. She realized it from Seiji's intense gaze, which made her happy, so she waited for Seiji to confess his feelings to her. Akane cried, saying she didn't know since when Seiji had been with another girl, and it made her feel unfair. Seiji said he should have expressed his feelings even though he didn't know if they would be reciprocated. Seiji thought Akane was touched, but she was angry because Seiji had kissed Guri and decided to execute him. Akane stated she would cut Guri into pieces first so she couldn't survive like before. Akane prepared to swing her knife while Seiji tried to wake Guri, but she didn't move at all. Seiji hugged her to protect her from Akane's attack. Akane and Seiji accidentally kissed because Guri moved. Guri remarked that Seiji was too kind and asked why he tried to protect her. Akane just realized that she and Seiji had kissed earlier. Guri said that even though it happened briefly, Seiji and Akane had feelings for each other. Guri congratulated them because they were now destined as a couple, and according to the myth, couples who are brought together by the kiss note are bound to get married. Guri was also curious why Seiji kept calling her Shinigami. She quickly changed her appearance and revealed that she was actually an angel, more specifically, a Cupid. Guri then asked Seiji to stop calling her Shinigami and instead call her Guri. Akane then asked if Guri had come to unite her with Seiji. Guri admitted it and explained that with the power of the kiss note, Akane and Seiji's future was now eternally connected. Shortly after, Guri suddenly kissed Seiji, shocking Akane. It turned out that Guri had also written her own name alongside Seiji's in the kiss note. The next morning, Guri woke Seiji up with a kiss. Seiji was startled and realized that everything that happened yesterday was not a dream. Guri admitted that she was touched when Seiji tried to protect her. Even though she was an angel, she was actually quite clumsy, and she wanted to learn more about that feeling, whether it was truly love. Akane immediately started stabbing Seiji, forbidding him from cheating in front of her. Seiji was confused as to why he wasn't dying from Akane's stabbing. Guri then explained that because Seiji was now paired with her, he had received the blessing of an angel, which made him unable to die. Guri then called it a love triangle, but Akane obviously refused to accept such a situation. While having a meal at Seiji's house, Guri was warmly welcomed by his family. She then told Seiji that she had used her shark-shaped staff to brainwash his family into believing that she was also their daughter. She did all of this so she could live in Seiji's house, arguing that since they were dating, it was only natural for them to live under the same roof. However, Seiji immediately objected, saying that he had never agreed to date her. Suddenly, Seiji's cat started talking, revealing that there was a reason behind everything. The cat introduced himself as Coralie and explained that he had borrowed the body of Seiji's pet cat, Blue, for the time being. Coralie was actually an angel assigned to watch over Guri. Seiji then asked if they had also brainwashed Aqua, his younger sister. His mother replied that Aqua was still at her club activities and had returned home yet. Seiji then asked what Coralie wanted to talk about, but Coralie insisted on discussing it after meeting with Akane. The next morning, Seiji brought Guri and Coralie to school to meet Akane. As soon as Akane saw him, she started stabbing him again for openly cheating on her right in front of her eyes. Coralie then urged them to start discussing something important about their future. Some students saw Seiji and Akane together and immediately assumed that they were dating. Coralie began explaining that it was extremely rare for an angel and a human to become a couple. Because of the angel's blessing, both Seiji and Akane had temporarily become angels, making them unable to die. However, as angels, they were required to work. If they refused, they would be sent to hell and lose their souls. This meant that if Guri didn't do her job as a Cupid, both Seiji and Akane would disappear along with their souls. Seiji was furious that Guri had dragged him into such a mess. Coralie then requested that Seiji and Akane help Guri with her duties. Akane, of course, immediately refused. Coralie then stated that if Akane didn't comply, she would lose her soul and would never be able to be with Seiji. Upon hearing this, Akane quickly agreed to do whatever it took to ensure she could be with Seiji in the future. Seiji then asked what they needed to do to help Guri. Guri explained that all they had to do was write in a kiss note, just as she had explained the day before. Seiji, however, snatched the kiss note from her and insisted that Guri shouldn't randomly pair people up. He believed that they should think things through first because love was something truly important. Coralie agreed with Seiji, saying that unlike Guri, who always acted recklessly and had a habit of pairing up random people, especially creating gay couples just for fun, Seiji actually had a rational approach. Because of this, Coralie decided to entrust Seiji with the responsibility of helping Guri. It was time for Coralie to return to heaven. Before leaving, he told Seiji that aside from assisting Guri, he could still live his life as usual. Seiji and Guri were chatting together while Seiji was trying to avoid Akane because the atmosphere in the classroom had become terrifying. Suddenly, Guri kissed Seiji out of nowhere, causing him to immediately push her head away. He reminded her not to do such things without permission. Out of the blue, Yuzu saw them from the top of the stairs. She accidentally slipped and fell right into Seiji's arms. As he tried to catch her, Yuzu told him not to touch her. She believed Seiji was deceiving girls by pretending to be kind. She also accused him of cheating with another girl, despite already being in a relationship with Akane. Without hesitation, Yuzu grabbed the book and left. Seiji told Guri to take it back, but Guri couldn't move because she was too full. Seiji followed Yuzu to the rooftop, asking her to return the book because it was extremely important. He suspected that Yuzu had written something in it and began panicking, questioning what she had written. Yuzu warned him not to come any closer. Suddenly, the floor beneath Yuzu split apart and she started to fall. Fortunately, Seiji managed to save her, causing Yuzu to land on top of him. It turned out that Akane was the one responsible. She was furious and accused Seiji of cheating on her. In the midst of all the chaos, Guri played background music that matched the scene of a villain's appearance. Yuzu quickly got up and ran, but Akane immediately leaped off the rooftop in pursuit. Seiji, concerned that Akane might actually kill Yuzu, urged Guri to chase after them. As Akane lunged forward to stab Yuzu, her knife mysteriously broke in half, allowing Yuzu to escape. Akane was confused. Something seemed to be protecting Yuzu. Yuzu attempted to write her name in the book, but the writing kept disappearing. Guri then explained that only angels could write in it, meaning ordinary humans couldn't do so. She then asked what kind of protection Yuzu had that allowed her to withstand Akane's attack. Seiji reminded Guri to ask about the kiss note first, suspecting that Yuzu knew something about it. Yuzu had heard that the kiss note could make impossible love become reality. Yuzu fell silent when Guri asked if she had someone she wanted as a partner. Akane was shocked to learn that Yuzu had set her sights on Seiji. Furious, she leaped forward, ready to stab Yuzu, but Seiji shouted at Akane to stop. Akane froze in place, stunned. This was the first time Seiji had called her by her real name. Overjoyed, she immediately ran to him. Yuzu, however, claimed that Akane's feelings were fake and the result of manipulation from the kiss note. She accused Seiji of using the book to make Akane reciprocate his one-sided love. Yuzu then revealed that she loved Akane. Even though she knew her feelings were forbidden, she believed she was the one who should be dating Akane. Guri became ecstatic upon discovering the same gender love. Seiji had to accept that he wasn't the one Yuzu was interested in. He also admitted that Akane was truly incredible, considering how she could receive a direct love confession. Unexpectedly, Akane rejected Yuzu, revealing that they were actually sisters. Despite having different family names, they were still related by blood. Guri became even more excited, realizing this was a forbidden love involving both lesbianism and incest. Yuzu pleaded with Akane, calling her big sister, but Akane forbade her from using that term. Yuzu then asked if Akane was rejecting her because they were both women and also siblings. She insisted that Akane's love for Seiji was fake, a result of the kiss note's manipulation. Akane, however, declared that she loved Seiji regardless of the kiss note. Heartbroken, Yuzu questioned what would happen to her own feelings. Suddenly, Guri announced that she had written Yuzu's name in the kiss note. That meant Yuzu was now part of the couple. As an angel, Guri couldn't ignore a girl in love right in front of her. Upon hearing this, both Seiji and Akane scolded Guri. Yuzu then asked if this meant she could now date Akane. Seiji and Akane explained that all of them were now part of the same couple. Guri urged Yuzu to hurry up and kiss Akane. If she didn't want to, she could randomly choose someone among the three of them. Yuzu couldn't believe she finally had a chance to kiss Akane. Overjoyed, she ran toward her, aiming for a kiss. However, she tripped on a rock and accidentally ended up kissing Seiji instead. Witnessing this, Akane immediately prepared both of her knives. That morning, Yuzu's car was parked near Akane's house. She was targeting the trash disposed of by Akane's family. As soon as the trash was taken out, Yosef hurriedly ran to retrieve it. She was so delighted and told her driver, Teru, that she had succeeded again today. Teru suggested that Yuzu should stop rummaging through Akane's family trash every morning. Yuzu was ecstatic while holding a used tissue that Akane had used and sniffed it. The scent of Akane's favorite rose perfume still lingered on the tissue. To her, that tissue didn't belong in the trash, but rather in treasure box. It was time to go to school, but Yuzu hadn't seen Akane leave her house yet. Suddenly, Guri appeared inside Yuzu's car, holding a doll that resembled Akane. Yuzu asked why Guri was suddenly in her car. Guri approached her because she thought Yuzu seemed interesting. At home, Seiji asked his younger sister, Aqua, if she had met Guri yet. Aqua asked who Guri was and didn't understand what Seiji was talking about. Seiji touched Aqua's shoulder and requested that Aqua listen to him occasionally. However, Aqua instead slammed Seiji and threw him out of the house. Unexpectedly, Akane witnessed all of this and immediately brandished a knife toward Aqua. The knife nearly struck Aqua, but fortunately, Seiji quickly explained that Aqua was his younger sister. Akane apologized as she had mistaken Aqua for a girl trying to seduce Seiji. Akane then acted friendly and introduced herself as Seiji's future wife, but Aqua remained indifferent and walked away. That day in the student infirmary, Guri and Yuzu acted as love health officers, assisting students who wanted to consult about love. The first patient was Rintaro, who said he liked a girl named Hanaka. After hearing this, Guri suggested that Rintaro go directly to where Hanaka was. Rintaro was overjoyed and immediately went to find Hanaka. The love consultation practice conducted by Guri and Yuzu became the talk among students because those who came managed to find love after just one consultation. Seiji and Akane entered the student infirmary and asked what Guri was doing. Yuzu welcomed Akane and said that her goal aligned with Guri's. Yuzu explained that they used the extraordinary power of the Kiss Notebook. For example, they paired the person stalking Akane with a police officer, so Yuzu was helping the teachers by acting as a cupid. Guri added that they only paired couples who had already fallen in love. However, to Seiji, it seemed like they were forcing people to fall in love. Guri was puzzled as Seiji, being her boyfriend, should be helping her duties as a cupid, but he hadn't done anything yet. Seiji then said that he would also look for potential couples with Akane, and he confiscated the Kiss Notebook. Yuzu was puzzled by Seiji's behavior and even more puzzled as to why Akane likes such a cruel guy. Yuzu asked if Seiji had dragged Guri into this mess, but Guri admitted that she had asked to pair with Seiji. Yuzu then asked if Guri truly likes Seiji. Guri said she didn't even know because she had no experience with love. However, there was something about Seiji that caught her attention. According to Guri, Seiji was interesting and fun, and that's what made her love him. Yuzu asked why Guri became a cupid. Guri said she had a lot of knowledge about it because she learned from manga, anime, and internet forums. According to Yuzu, love isn't something that should be understood but rather felt in the heart. Meanwhile, Seiji told Akane that he didn't expect Yuzu to misuse the Kiss Notebook as well. Akane felt happy when Seiji invited her. As they were walking together, Seiji accidentally bumped into Mary. He immediately apologized, but Mary said she was the one who was a bit lost in thought. It was unusual for Mary to daydream, so Akane suspected that Mary might be in love. Akane asked Mary to tell her if there was someone Mary liked or wanted to date because Akane might be able to pair them up, just like she and Seiji. Seiji whispered to Akane that she seemed to be pushing too hard. Meanwhile, Guri and Yuzu were reading the paper they had found earlier. It appeared to be some kind of love poem. According to Yuzu, the person who wrote it was probably experiencing unrequited love. Guri then suggested that they find this person and make their love come true. Yuzu was more than happy to help, and they really started working like cupids. Suddenly, a man named Nagito entered the student infirmary and asked if a piece of paper had fallen in that room. Mr. Nagito quickly snatched the paper from Yuzu's hands. Yuzu then asked if he was the one who had written it. He then asked if Yuzu and Guri had read it, and Guri even stated that she and Yuzu had analyzed its content. Mr. Nagito felt embarrassed and said that a man writing something like that was disgusting. However, Yuzu thought it was a beautiful poem that resonated deeply in her heart. Guri then asked who the person Mr. Nagito was in love with was. Before he could answer, Seiji suddenly arrived and asked what kind of trouble Guri was causing this time, assuming that she was once again creating a mess. Guri and Yuzu said they had found a perfect match candidate. Seiji told Mr. Nagito that Mary was bringing the boxes into his room. Seeing Mary right in front of him, Mr. Nagito's face turned red. He looked so nervous that he ended up falling. Mary then told him to be firm and to stand up properly. She also instructed him to fix his messy appearance since, as a teacher, he should set a good example for his students. After Mary helped him tidy up, Mr. Nagito suddenly fell again. Yuzu immediately suspected that the person he was in love with was Mary. Seiji also guessed that the person Mary wanted to date was Mr. Nagito. They held a discussion about the situation, and Seiji concluded that Mr. Nagito was in love with Mary, but Mary did not want to date him, especially since they were a teacher and a student, making it an impossible situation. However, Guri argued that if a male-male couple was acceptable, then so was a teacher-student relationship. Yuzu and Guri agreed to pair them up, but Seiji believed it would be a huge bother for Mary. Akane, on the other hand, was unsure because if Mary truly did not like Mr. Nagito, she would reject him outright. Guri suggested that they observe Mr. Nagito and Mary's feelings for a while before deciding whether they should push for the relationship. Yuzu was excited about making Mr. Nagito and Mary's love come true. Seiji reminded them that their job was not to make their love happen, but to confirm their feelings. At that moment, Yuzu and Guri brought Mr. Nagito to the audiovisual room and urged him to shout his feelings across the entire school. They wanted him to confess his love for Mary using the microphone. Overwhelmed, Mr. Nagito ran away because he could not do it. Seiji then went to see Mary and ask about Mr. Nagito. He knew it was none of his business, but things would only get more complicated if left alone. Mary teased him, saying that she suspected he had dumped Akane and was now confessing to her instead. However, she was only joking because she knew Akane would kill him if that were the case. At that moment, Mr. Nagito saw Seiji talking to Mary. Seiji explained that Yuzu and Guri were trying to figure out Mr. Nagito's feelings, but to stop them, he needed to confirm Mary's feelings and see whether she would accept or reject him. Mary firmly stated that it was impossible because love stories between teachers and students only happened in TV dramas, whereas her motto was to always act wisely. Hearing this, Seiji suggested that she reject him outright. Mary replied that she could not ignore him because his clumsiness reminded her of her younger brother. Seiji then concluded that Mary's feelings for Mr. Nagito were more like those of a mother toward her child. Mr. Nagito, who had been listening the whole time, clearly heard her statement. Previously, Mary accidentally read something written by Mr. Nagito and asked him if writing poems and lyrics was his hobby. Embarrassed, Mr. Nagito asked her to return the paper because he was about to throw it away. Mary thought it would be a waste to discard it since Mr. Nagito had put so much effort into writing it. She praised him for his incredible ability to create such beautiful sentences. Mr. Nagito then questioned whether it was strange for a man to write something so feminine. Instead of agreeing, Mary gently stroked his hair and told him it was impressive and not weird at all. Unexpectedly, Mary's gesture made Mr. Nagito fall in love with her, but he knew he had to suppress his feelings. Seiji approached Mr. Nagito and expressed concern that Guri and Yuzu might be up to something weird again. Mr. Nagito believed that Yuzu and Guri had given up due to their own helplessness. However, Seiji wasn't convinced since Yuzu and Guri never really thought things through and always caused trouble just for fun. Suddenly, Yuzu ran up to Mr. Nagito and informed him that Mary had been taken hostage in a robbery downtown. However, the whole situation was actually part of a staged performance orchestrated by Guri. Her plan was to turn Mr. Nagito into a brave hero who would rescue Mary from the robbers, which would ultimately make their feelings for each other grow stronger. Guri was confident that Seiji wouldn't complain if she wrote Mary and Mr. Nagito's names in the kiss note. Dressed up as a robber, Guri was still recognized by Mary, but unexpectedly, an actual robbery was happening at the same location. When the police arrived, Guri and Mary ended up being taken hostage by the real robbers. Mr. Nagito, Yuzu, and Seiji arrived at the scene, and Yuzu was shocked to see Guri and Mary being held by real criminals. Seiji was also puzzled to see Guri there with such a strange appearance. Guri commented that maybe this was a case of the hunter becoming the hunted. When Mary saw Mr. Nagito, she casually reminded him that there was a student council meeting that day. Seiji suspected this was all Guri's doing, but she insisted that these were actual robbers. When Mr. Nagito asked if Mary was okay, she told him to just go back to school. Meanwhile, Guri asked Seiji to take a picture of her. The robbers were annoyed that the hostages were just casually chatting instead of feeling distressed like they were supposed to. Guri then told Yuzu that even though their original plan had failed, they should still go ahead with it. Yuzu urged Mr. Nagito to save Mary in a cool and heroic way so that he could touch her heart. She believed that if he did, Mary would return his feelings, and this could be his last chance. However, Mr. Nagito hesitated because the robbers were armed, and he thought it would be better to let the police handle the situation. Yuzu then asked why he had run there in the first place upon hearing Mary was in danger. Wasn't it because he wanted to save her? She pleaded with him to take action before deciding it was pointless, and not to let this opportunity slip away. She even told him to face the robbers, even if it meant killing them. Yuzu also encouraged him to confess the feelings he had written down on that piece of paper. When one of the robbers told Yuzu to stop talking, she snapped at him, saying he was just an extra in the story. Annoyed at being called an extra, the robber fired his gun at Yuzu. Fortunately, Seiji managed to protect her, though the bullet grazed his arm. Yuzu insisted that she had the ability to deflect attacks, so she didn't need Seiji to protect her. However, Seiji argued that he wasn't going to die and there was no way he would let a girl get hurt. He admitted that it was a strange situation to confess love, but Yuzu had a point. Because of that, he believed Mr. Nagito needed to step up and save Mary. Mary scolded the robber, which made him threaten to shoot her. Mr. Nagito shouted at the robber to let Mary go. Although Mr. Nagito was scared, he was even more afraid that the robber would hurt Mary. His words touched Mary, and she tried to break free from the robber. Mr. Nagito then struck the robber, but his punch was so weak that he felt extremely guilty for resorting to violence. Just as the robber was about to shoot Mr. Nagito, Akane suddenly rushed towards Seiji. Upon seeing that Seiji had been shot by the robber, she immediately kicked both robbers and stomped on their heads. She also managed to knock away the gun that the robber was trying to grab. Akane whispered to the robber that she was the only one allowed to hurt Seiji. Everyone who witnessed the scene felt chills run down their spines. Mr. Nagito then told Mary that although they were teacher and student, one day that status would disappear. What he wanted to say was that he no longer wanted to run away from his feelings. He admitted it might sound selfish, but when the time came, he hoped Mary would give him the chance to express his feelings. Mary responded that this was her intention from the start. She was certain that Mr. Nagito would confess his love once they were no longer teacher and student. However, Mary noted that Mr. Nagito often acted based on emotions, which worried her. She also said that when the time came, she wanted to hear a heartfelt poem from him, and she would wait for it. Seiji and the others were shocked to learn that Mary also had feelings for Mr. Nagito. Mary then reminded Seiji that he should probably stop Akane from torturing the two robbers. After everything was settled, Seiji asked Mary if she was sure about her decision to wait for Mr. Nagito, considering she had previously said she couldn't date him. Mary explained that her plan was to graduate from college and secure a high-paying job since a teacher's salary was low. She also clarified that she never said she didn't love Mr. Nagito. That's why she intended to win his heart gradually. Yuzu then asked Mary why she didn't write her name in the kiss note to make her love come true. Mary admitted that it was a good idea, but sometimes the process was more enjoyable than instantly making it happen. However, she was also surprised that she could hear Mr. Nagito's true feelings. To Seiji, Mary seemed like a little devil who was a master of strategy. Guri and the others knew about Mary and Mr. Nagito's feelings for each other, yet they didn't write them in the kiss note. Yuzu thanked Seiji for protecting her, but that didn't mean she accepted him as Akane's partner. Meanwhile, Akane came running towards Seiji as she was being chased by reporters who wanted to interview her. From a distance, Aqua saw her older brother surrounded by reporters and called him an idiot. When Aqua was a child, she cried in fear because she couldn't climb down from a tree. At that moment, Seiji came and told her to jump while he would catch her from below. That scene appeared in Aqua's dream last night. In the morning, her alarm clock rang and woke her up. Aqua immediately went to the bathroom to brush her teeth, but she was suddenly startled by Guri, who was completely naked after taking a morning shower. Aqua was understandably confused to see Guri in her house. Guri quickly assumed that the girl in front of her was Seiji's younger sister. She greeted Aqua and introduced herself as Seiji's girlfriend. Suddenly, Seiji entered the bathroom and asked if Aqua had heard Guri's voice. He was shocked to see Guri standing there naked. Guri explained that a divine light was covering her, so people wouldn't actually see anything on her body. Aqua asked Guri if she didn't mind considering that Seiji had another girlfriend. Guri asked if she was referring to Akane and even told Aqua that besides Akane, Seiji had yet another girlfriend. Seiji tried to explain, but Aqua was already annoyed and immediately brushed soap into Seiji's eyes before leaving. Guri then asked Seiji if Aqua hated him. Seiji was also confused because when they were kids, Aqua was cute and always clung to him. Not long after, Guri suddenly disappeared. At school, Seiji was still thinking about Guri. He was worried that she might do something to Aqua. Akane approached him and noticed that he seemed to be thinking about Guri, but Seiji denied it. That afternoon, Akane brought him a homemade lunch and invited him to eat together. Seiji was delighted to see the variety of food Akane had prepared. She was doing her best to be his future wife. When Seiji took a bite, he praised how delicious it was, which made Akane happy. Not long after, she asked what was going on with Guri. Seiji told her that he was worried Guri might do something to Aqua because Guri knew that Aqua hated him. He then asked if Akane and Yuzu were getting along, but Akane apologized and said she didn't want to talk about it. After school, Aqua walked home alone. She hadn't been feeling well since the morning, so she just wanted to rest once she got home. Suddenly, Yuzu approached her and greeted her. Apparently, Guri had told Yuzu about Aqua, and it made her laugh. Yuzu commented that Seiji deserved to be hated by his own little sister. Guri introduced Yuzu to Aqua and mentioned that Yuzu was also Seiji's girlfriend. Aqua was shocked to hear that. Yuzu explained that it was out of her control. Yuzu was sure that Aqua knew a lot about Seiji's bad behavior. She asked Aqua to tell her everything, hoping that it might help Akane realize the truth. Yuzu was convinced that Seiji was a pervert, lazy, and rude at home. She also believed that Aqua must have suffered a lot having a brother like him. Annoyed, Aqua snapped at them, saying that they knew nothing about her brother and should stop acting like they did just because they had only known him for a short while. Suddenly, a demon appeared before them. Yuzu was immediately terrified because it was Stolas, the demon who had been sealed away after attacking children years ago. Yuzu panicked and ran away in fear. Guri asked Aqua if she believed in things like demons, and to her surprise, Aqua also looked terrified and immediately ran off. Stolas started chasing her. Guri was surprised and thought the whole situation was interesting. Meanwhile, Yuzu kept running and almost tripped, but fortunately, Seiji caught her just in time. Yuzu insisted that she never needed Seiji's help, and even if he acted nice to her, she would never thank him. She then explained that she had been with Guri and Aqua when Stolas suddenly appeared and that Aqua was still there. Hearing this, Seiji panicked and was about to run to find Aqua, but Yuzu stopped him, saying it was too dangerous. Embarrassed, Yuzu clarified that she wasn't worried about Seiji, she just didn't want anyone to get hurt. Seiji thanked her, but he still chose to go and rescue Aqua. At that moment, Aqua was perched atop a tree, reminiscing about her childhood with Seiji. Suddenly, Stolas' voice approached. Guri discovered Aqua hiding in the tree and noticed that Stolas was, in fact, a penguin. She wondered why people were frightened of Stolas, having previously imagined him as terrifying. Aqua warned Guri to stay away, insisting that despite his appearance, Stolas was truly malevolent. Guri suggested that approaching animals without fear might open their hearts. She attempted to charm and approached Stolas, but he attacked her. Stolas disliked Guri touching him without permission. He declared his intention to fulfill his long-held desire, approaching the tree and proposing to mate with Aqua. Shortly after, Seiji arrived, inquiring about her well-being. Aqua questioned why Seiji was there. He explained that he became concerned upon hearing of Stolas' appearance, knowing Stolas always pursued Aqua, and he intended to rescue her. Aqua insisted that Seiji shouldn't interfere in her affairs, but he asserted that as her older brother, it was natural for him to protect her when she's in trouble. When Stolas leaped onto the tree, Seiji promptly urged Aqua to jump toward him so he could catch her, just like when they were children. After successfully rescuing Aqua, riot police surrounded Stolas. They then returned home with Seiji still carrying Aqua. He expressed his happiness that she was safe, mentioning it had been a while since he last carried her and noting she had become heavier. Hearing this, Aqua immediately struck him. Seiji commented that Aqua hadn't changed despite growing up, but Aqua believed it was Seiji who had changed. Seiji claimed he hadn't changed as he had always been her older brother. Guri remarked that she had suspected Aqua loved Seiji, but Aqua denied it, accusing Seiji of being a scoundrel who constantly switched girlfriends. Aqua then choked Seiji before running off. Seiji was puzzled, thinking Aqua had returned her old self. Guri described Aqua as a mysterious creature. Guri suddenly asked if Seiji would go on a date with her that weekend. Over the weekend, Seiji accompanied Guri to a bookstore. Guri wanted to purchase the masterpiece manga Onmova Matilda, which had previously been discontinued. The manga's final volume release included a signing session, and she obtained the author's autograph. Unexpectedly, many couples were present at the event. Just as Guri intended to inspect them, Seiji restrained and tied her up. Guri felt like Seiji's pet as they walked with her bound by a leash. Noticing other couples holding hands, Guri held Seiji's hand to appear as a romantic pair. She suggested they enjoy themselves that day since they were on a date. Filled with excitement, Guri ran swiftly, pulling Seiji along and exhausting him. Seiji observed a couple being affectionate on a park bench, contemplating that this was how an ideal couple should be. In contrast, Guri identified an ideal couple when she saw two men holding hands. Just as Guri attempted to write their names in the book, Seiji stopped her. Suddenly, they witnessed a woman approaching the couple on the bench, angrily questioning why the man was with another woman when he had claimed to be busy with work. The man denied knowing the woman, who was puzzled since he had given her a necklace on her birthday. It turned out the necklace was identical to the one the woman on the bench had. Shortly after, numerous women approached, all claiming to be the man's girlfriends. Guri was furious, calling the man a scoundrel for dating multiple women simultaneously. For some reason, Seiji felt as though Guri was insinuating something about him. Suddenly, the man argued that all the women were satisfied just dating him and that they were all happy, so he thought it was even. The woman on the bench slapped him, calling him cruel. When the man attempted to retaliate, Seiji intervened, questioning how he could hit a woman like that, and urged him to apologize to all the women he had dated. Unexpectedly, the girl on the bench hit Seiji so hard that both he and the other guy fell to the ground. The girl turned out to be quite strong, and she immediately ordered the guy to kneel and apologize to her. All of the guy's girlfriends ganged up on him, beating him up while Seiji tried to escape from the chaos. By accident, a candle fell toward the kiss notebook lying on the ground. Guri approached Seiji and told him that he was too kind to others, but that was exactly what made her attracted to him. She then suddenly kissed him. After the women were satisfied with beating up the guy, they left him there without a second thought. Witnessing everything that had happened, Seiji started to understand what it really meant to be in a relationship. According to Guri, love had to be balanced on both sides because not all people who were together were truly happy couples. Perhaps that was why Cupids existed, to help love bloom between partners. They were both shocked when they saw smoke rising from the kiss note, which had been completely burned. That night, Seiji and Guri told Coralie about what had happened to the kiss note. Coralie had no idea what would happen after the book was burned and was even surprised that an angel had lost her working tool. Seiji then wondered if all the couples written in the book had been annulled. Guri was confident that they could handle it, but Seiji didn't believe her. Coralie admitted that there were many things he was worried about, so he decided to return to heaven for the time being. Seiji couldn't help but wonder what would happen next. The next morning, Seiji saw Akane doing her usual morning training. Normally, whenever Akane saw Seiji, she would immediately start chasing after him. But that morning, she did nothing. In class, Seiji began to suspect that this might have something to do with the kiss note being burned. When Akane entered the classroom, Seiji tried to greet her, but she ignored him completely. Suddenly, Guri arrived wearing a school uniform, which left Seiji puzzled. Guri told him that she had always wanted to be a student. Seiji informed Guri that there seemed to be a serious problem. That morning, Guri joined him in class. After school, she walked home with Seiji and mentioned how much she enjoyed studying in class. However, Seiji pointed out that all she did was sleep during the lesson. Out of nowhere, Yuzu blocked their way, saying that she had already heard about Akane ignoring Seiji. She was absolutely thrilled about it, especially since the rumor had spread all over the school. Yuzu was curious about what Seiji had done to make Akane hate him. Seiji suspected that it had something to do with the kiss note burning, which likely annulled all the relationships written in it. Upon hearing this, Yuzu was furious because that meant her relationship with Akane had been erased. Guri tried to reassure her that everything would be fine, but Seiji didn't believe her. He also declared that Guri was no longer his girlfriend. Suddenly, a girl named Taira appeared and greeted Guri. Guri introduced Taira as another Cupid. She then asked Taira what she was doing there. Taira had already heard that Guri had lost her angelic tool. She also claimed that all the couples would be fine and insisted that nothing would change. To prove her point, she took Seiji along to confirm it. They observed a criminal couple and a police officer breaking up, but then the officer chased after the criminal and kissed him right away. That day, they checked on all the couples Guri had written in the kiss note, most of whom were male-male pairs. Surprisingly, all the relationships seemed to be doing just fine. Seiji finally realized that the kiss note burning had no effect at all. Taira explained that the kiss note indeed forced people to become a couple, but its function was merely to create opportunities. Even if its effects disappeared, the love that had already formed wouldn't just break apart so easily. Seiji was surprised by how simple it all turned out to be. Taira asked Seiji to believe in the power of love. She explained that when Guri lost her kiss note, she could no longer do her job, so Taira gave her one of her own gadgets. It turned out that Taira had decided to quit being a Cupid because she was about to start a new chapter in her life as a housewife. She then revealed that she was pregnant and encouraged Guri not to hesitate in using her gadget. Seiji then asked if Taira was really quitting her job, and she confirmed, saying that being a housewife and raising a child was a wonderful job. At that moment, the issue with the couples and the burned book had been resolved. Guri pointed out that since Seiji and Yuzu were no longer paired, they no longer received the blessings of an angel. This meant that if Seiji were killed, he would actually die. Suddenly, Akane threw a knife at Guri. She was furious and demanded to know why Seiji hadn't come to her, even though she had been waiting for him. Seiji, terrified, reminded her that if she stabbed him, he would die. However, instead of stabbing him, Akane kissed him. She then burst into tears, asking why Seiji hadn't chased after her. Seiji, confused, told her that her behavior was strange. It turned out that Akane had been acting this way on purpose. She explained that she had read an article in a magazine about how to attract a distant partner, so she had done her best to act cold, as the article suggested. After that, Akane repeatedly stabbed Seiji, but he didn't die. To everyone's surprise, Guri had rewritten Seiji's name in the kiss note, pairing him with Akane, Yuzu, and herself once again. Realizing this, Yuzu asked if she needed to kiss Akane again. However, Guri pointed out that Akane had already kissed Seiji, so the only thing left was for Guri to kiss Yuzu. With that, everything returned to the way it was before. Since she was little, Yuzu had been told by her mother, Ameisha, that Akane was cruel, rough, and hurt others without thinking twice. She even called Akane a demon. Amisha also forbade her from speaking to Akane. Deep down, Yuzu never really believed what her mother said. One day, while running with her doll in hand, she suddenly tripped and the doll fell to the ground. Akane approached her and called her clumsy. Seeing the fallen doll, Akane picked it up. Yuzu immediately asked Akane to give it back, explaining that it was a precious gift from her mother. However, instead of returning it, Akane threw the doll into a pond. That morning, Seiji and Guri saw Yuzu heading to another school. Out of nowhere, Guri suddenly sneaked into that school. When Seiji tried to follow her, he was chased away by the school guard. Yuzu was seen waiting for someone and was surprised to find Guri at her school. She asked Guri why she was there, and Guri responded with the same question. Suddenly, Kido arrived and called out to Yuzu. Yuzu then asked why Kido was late. Kido apologized, saying that the other students were slacking off, which made her late. It turned out that Kido was Yuzu's replacement at that school. After that, Teru escorted Yuzu to her other school. According to Teru, doing this every day wasn't good for his heart. Yuzu told him not to complain, as she had to go to Akane's school every day to watch over her. Guri praised her and asked if she did it out of love for Akane. Yuzu admitted it. She then started spying on Akane while she was changing into her gym clothes. Guri called Yuzu dangerous, but also wanted to take a picture of Akane changing. Unfortunately, the camera shutter sound was heard by Akane's classmates. When they checked, Guri and Yuzu had already left. Yuzu scolded Guri, saying that because of her, she could no longer use that hiding spot to spy on Akane. Guri said she just wanted to capture a perverted moment like that. Yuzu then asked Guri to send her the photo. Guri even wanted to send the picture to Seiji as well. Guri mentioned that the app on her phone was really interesting. One fun feature was the compatibility barometer, which showed how well two people matched. It was more like a fortune-telling compatibility test. Guri decided to test it on a random male and female student. By simply taking their photos, they could immediately see the results. The male student got a B, while the female student got an E. Guri explained that a B was an average score, while an E was considered lower than an insect. Yuzu then asked if Guri could check the compatibility between her and Akane. Their score turned out to be a C. Guri explained that a C meant who cares. She was also surprised that the score was that low, considering Yuzu and Akane were already a couple. Not long after, Seiji approached Guri and asked about the photo she had sent him. Guri simply said she felt the need to send it to him. Seiji demanded that Guri stop sending him pictures like that, especially since he couldn't even delete the image from his phone. He was also scared that Akane might see it. Out of nowhere, Akane appeared and asked why Seiji had mentioned her name. She asked if Seiji was hiding something from her. Seiji denied it and quickly changed the topic by saying that he had seen Yuzu going to another school that morning. Akane then told Seiji that Yuzu was not a student at her school. Akane then asked if Yuzu had been spying on her while she was changing. She said she didn't care if Yuzu sneaked into her school or even spied on her, but if she caused any trouble and her family found out, it would be dangerous. Akane ordered Yuzu to go back to her actual school, warning that if she didn't, she would be the one facing the consequences. Yuzu insisted that she was there to protect Akane, but Akane told her that Seiji would be the one to do that, so she would be fine. When Guri checked the compatibility between Seiji and Akane, she was utterly shocked. The score was absurd and downright terrifying. Akane's feelings for Seiji were overwhelmingly intense. Upon hearing this, Yuzu became saddened and immediately ran away. According to Seiji, Akane was being too overprotective toward Yuzu, but Akane insisted that she was doing it for her own good. Meanwhile, Yuzu kept running in the rain, crying over why Akane liked someone like Seiji when the love she gave was so much greater than his. Yuzu remembered when she was a child, Akane caught her just as she was about to jump into a pool to retrieve a doll that Akane had thrown in. Akane told her that jumping into the pool was dangerous because there were piranhas inside. Akane then asked why Shikimi was bullying Yuzu, and Shikimi apologized to Yuzu. That was the moment when Akane and Yuzu first met. After that, Akane and Shikimi quickly left. Yuzu felt like she should thank Akane, but there was something else she wanted to say even more. She ended up shouting that she loved Akane. Akane turned around and called her a strange child. Yuzu had never felt anything like that before, and she was sure it had to be love. As she stood alone by the lake, still heartbroken, Yuzu wondered why her feelings weren't returned by Akane. Was it because she wasn't a boy? Or was it because she was Akane's little sister? Even though Akane and Yuzu managed to overcome that obstacle and became a couple, nothing really changed. Suddenly, a middle-aged man approached and asked what Yuzu was doing there without an umbrella. He kept getting closer and offered to take her home. Terrified, Yuzu immediately used her power, tearing the man's umbrella and clothes. The man was so scared that he ran away, but to her surprise, her power also ended up splitting the ground beneath her. Yuzu lost her balance and fell into the lake, sinking beneath the water. Fortunately, Seiji quickly grabbed her hand and pulled her out. As soon as she regained consciousness, Yuzu started hitting Seiji, demanding that he let her go. After finally calming down, Yuzu stood in the lake, realizing it was actually shallow. She then asked why Seiji had come after her. It turned out Seiji was worried about her because Akane had said something rather harsh. Yuzu admitted that Akane's words were true. She had sneaked into Akane's school and chased away every boy who tried to get close to her, all for the sake of her own feelings. Yuzu thought that by staying near Akane, maybe one day she would finally be noticed. But instead of receiving Akane's love, Seiji suddenly appeared and stole her heart. Yuzu couldn't understand why Akane would love someone like him. Seiji was also confused because Akane had never shown any signs of liking him in the past. Hearing that, Yuzu slapped Seiji, making him fall back into the lake. She told him that was exactly why she hated him. Yuzu was frustrated that Seiji was in a position that would make anyone jealous, yet he remained so humble. She thought he should at least show a little pride. What angered her the most, though, was that no matter what she did, she couldn't make Akane see her or make her smile. Yuzu declared that she wouldn't give up and that she would never hand Akane over to someone like Seiji. She also promised she wouldn't lose to him. Then she told him to forget everything she had just said. But to her surprise, Seiji reassured her that there was nothing to worry about, even calling her strong. In his opinion, someone who could get back up after recognizing their weaknesses was someone strong and admirable. Yuzu was baffled. Why was he complimenting the very person who had just declared war on him? Suddenly, Akane appeared, bringing an umbrella. Yuzu was thrilled that Akane had come all the way there to bring her one, but it turned out Akane had only done it because Seiji asked her to. Akane then helped Seiji out of the lake and held the umbrella over him. Yuzu declared once again that she loved Akane, even if Akane was annoyed by her, rejected her, or even hated her. No matter what, she would always protect Akane. Akane simply told her to do whatever she wanted. Hearing that, Yuzu felt a little happy. She also thanked Seiji for what he had said earlier. Out of nowhere, Guri showed up to check the compatibility between Yuzu and Seiji. To their surprise, the result was quite high, even though Yuzu insisted that she hated him. The next morning, Seiji caught the flu and felt cold after getting soaked in the rain the day before. He asked Guri to get off his shoulders because he was sick, but Guri said that the flu wouldn't kill him since he was immortal at that moment. Seiji mentioned that they needed to find the next potential couple because he didn't want to make Coralie angry. Suddenly, a girl named Shikimi approached them and asked if they were experts in matchmaking. She had heard that Seiji and Guri were offering love consultation services in the student infirmary. Shikimi then asked them to listen to her request. The three of them went to the library for the consultation. Shikimi explained that there was someone she liked and she couldn't get them out of her mind. She was certain that Guri and Seiji could help her turn that person into her partner. Guri assured her that as long as there were no major mistakes, Shikimi could be with that person and was even guaranteed to marry them. She also revealed that she was an angel. Guri explained that if Shikimi entered her name and the name of the person she liked into Guri's phone, it would become a couple. Unfortunately, Shikimi didn't know the person's name, but she hadn't been able to forget them since the first time she saw them. Guri understood the feeling and got excited about pairing Shikimi with her crush. When Guri was about to contact Yuzu and Akane, Shikimi said she felt embarrassed talking about it since it was her first time experiencing such emotions, so she wanted to keep it a secret. Seiji then said that he and Guri would look for the person in question and would contact Yuzu and Akane if necessary. Before leaving, Seiji invited Shikimi to meet again after school. Shikimi handed Guri a manga that had fallen, and it turned out that they both liked the same author. Guri was thrilled and asked Shikimi to be her friend, promising to make her love story come true. During class, Seiji sneezed several times. Akane, worried, checked his forehead and noticed he was running a fever. She suggested that he go to the student infirmary, but Seiji insisted that he was fine. After school, Seiji met up with Shikimi, but Guri had not arrived yet. Since they didn't have much time, they decided to go ahead and visit the last place where Shikimi had seen the person she liked. As they walked, Shikimi asked if Seiji was really dating Akane, Guri, and Yuzu. Seiji admitted that it was true, but insisted that it was completely out of his control. He explained that his 3 girlfriends constantly caused problems, got mad at him, and even stabbed him, which had become part of his daily life. Hearing this, Shikimi asked if he was okay. Seiji replied that even if he was badly injured, he wouldn't die. He speculated that it was because being with Guri had made them immortal. Seiji suddenly realized that he shouldn't have said that. Shikimi smiled, unsure if it was a good or bad thing, but she found it quite interesting. Seiji appreciated how Shikimi listened to him without mocking him and genuinely seemed to understand his feelings. To him, she truly seemed like a good person. Meanwhile, Guri arrived at their meeting spot but didn't see anyone. She recalled that Shikimi had asked her to bring her recommended BL books. When Guri reached for her phone to call, she realized it was missing. Shikimi led Seiji to a secluded area. Seiji started doubting whether anyone was really there, even wondering if the person Shikimi liked was a ghost. Gathering his courage, he asked what the person she liked was like. Shikimi described them as being about Seiji's height, having the same hair as Seiji, and having an average-looking face. Seiji accidentally stepped on something sticky, causing him to become trapped. Shikimi then smiled and revealed that the person she liked was Seiji himself. Meanwhile, Akane learned from Guri that Seiji had gone off with another girl. Yuzu urged Guri to call him, but Guri had lost her love phone. Akane grew even angrier, remembering how she had told Seiji to go home quickly so his flu wouldn't get worse. Hearing this, Yuzu speculated that Seiji might have gotten sick from being in the rain the previous day. Akane suspected that the girl had intentionally taken Seiji away so she could take care of him herself. Enraged, she immediately ran off to destroy that girl. Seiji, feeling trapped, couldn't understand why Shikimi was doing this to him. Shikimi then removed her clothes, saying that pretending to be a simple, innocent girl was fun, but she felt restricted. She also expressed that she was becoming more interested in Seiji and couldn't resist any longer. Shikimi questioned why a guy like Seiji, who had no potential, could be with Akane. Seiji tried to break free, but Shikimi immediately stabbed him, forbidding him from moving. Shikimi ruthlessly tortured him, even threatening to stab his heart, cut off his hands, and gouge out his eyes. Even though he wouldn't die, Seiji still felt the pain and it would make him suffer. Shikimi asked what she had to do to become like Seiji and the others. Meanwhile, Guri and the others were running to find Seiji's whereabouts. Yuzu asked Guri who the girl with Seiji was. Guri tried to remember and mentioned the name Shikimi. According to Guri, Shikimi was a very nice person and had a lot in common with her. Akane was shocked to hear this. At that moment, Seiji continued to be tortured by Shikimi. Seiji's painful cries truly aroused Shikimi, and she was about to kiss Seiji. At that moment, Seiji was being held captive by Shikimi in a deserted, empty building. There, Shikimi mercilessly tortured Seiji, deliberately inflicting pleasurable pain as her special service. Shikimi wanted Seiji to tell her what attracted him to Akane. Seiji then asked who Shikimi really was. Suddenly, Akane arrived and broke through the wall, stating that Shikimi was her cousin. Seeing Akane's arrival, Seiji quickly clarified that there was no misunderstanding between them. Akane immediately swung a knife towards Shikimi. Seeing Akane so enraged, Shikimi became excited, calling her cute. Akane scolded Shikimi for always being interested in others' precious belongings and trying to steal them. Akane repeatedly threw knives at Shikimi, but Shikimi managed to dodge them. Shikimi remarked whether Akane had forgotten that stealing others' possessions was her job. Shikimi caught one of the knives Akane threw at her, expressing surprise at the number of knives Akane had and suspecting Akane had a strong fondness for them. Akane threw a small knife that managed to graze Shikimi's palm, telling her to be quiet. Oddly, instead of feeling pain, Shikimi felt pleasure from being wounded by Akane. Shikimi immediately retaliated by ensnaring Akane. Shikimi felt that Akane seemed to be weakening, as usually Akane could easily avoid her snares and injure Shikimi. Shikimi tore Akane's clothes and squeezed her chest, praising Akane's ample bosom. Shikimi expressed a desire to torture Akane, but refrained, not wanting to damage Akane's body. However, upon learning that Akane's body was immortal, Shikimi realized she could torture her as she pleased. Akane called Shikimi perverted, and Shikimi admitted to being extremely so. Shikimi said that Akane looked truly adorable when angry. Shikimi indeed loved stealing others' possessions but preferred destroying those precious things right before their owner's eyes. Yuzu then arrived at the scene, shocked by what she saw. Yuzu pleaded with Shikimi not to be cruel to Akane. Shikimi laughed at the trembling Yuzu, knowing Yuzu was still afraid of her. Just as Shikimi was about to touch her, Yuzu managed to activate her shield. Shikimi noted that Yuzu had become better at controlling her abilities and stronger, while someone she had hoped for had become weaker. Shikimi commented that a weapon princess needing a shield was not cool. Suddenly, Seiji broke free from Shikimi's trap. Shikimi turned to ensnare Seiji again, but Akane forbade it, threatening to kill Shikimi if she harmed Seiji. Seiji wondered why Shikimi and Akane hurt each other when they were cousins. Shikimi asked if Seiji didn't know anything despite dating Akane and Yuzu. Shikimi laughed, intending to tell Seiji something, but Akane forbade it, not wanting Seiji to hate her if he found out looking pitiful. Shikimi was annoyed seeing Akane express herself like an ordinary girl, not like the Akane she knew, calling her disgusting and ugly because, in her opinion, a feminine Akane was not cute at all. Shikimi intended to torture Seiji to make Akane return to her former self. Suddenly, Guri arrived in a strange costume, saying she had won it from a lottery at the shopping area. She asked if they were having a girls' party. Shikimi immediately hugged Guri, but Guri didn't recognize her. Shikimi quickly put on her wig, and Guri then realized who she was. Shikimi claimed to be an expert in disguise. Shikimi apologized to Guri for leaving earlier because she wanted to surprise her two cousins, Akane and Yuzu. Guri then learned about this. Shikimi showed the love phone and was about to ask something. Seiji wanted to tell Guri not to talk to Shikimi, but Shikimi immediately restrained Seiji and covered his mouth. Additionally, she also covered Akane and Yuzu's mouths. Shikimi claimed that she had found the love phone when Guri dropped it, but in reality, she had stolen it. Shikimi asked how to create a couple using the love phone. Guri explained that the phone would not work unless an angel wrote in it. Shikimi then returned the phone to Guri, and Guri asked if Shikimi already knew the identity of the man she liked. Shikimi revealed that she liked Seiji, but she also loved Akane and Yuzu, so she wanted to be part of the couple that Guri had created. Seiji tried to scream, but it was useless because the restraint around his mouth was too tight. He was extremely worried that Shikimi would tell Guri this and that Guri would immediately accept her request. Shikimi pleaded with Guri to add her name to the couple alongside Seiji and the others, but Guri outright refused. According to her, Shikimi did not possess love. Shikimi insisted that she loved Seiji, Akane, and Yuzu. She then asked what love truly was. Guri admitted that she did not fully understand it, but the love that Akane and Yuzu had felt warm, while Shikimi's felt empty. Shikimi turned around and was about to restrain Guri when suddenly her phone rang. She quickly answered it. It was Akane's mother calling to ask about Akane, but Shikimi claimed that she had not seen her. Shikimi informed the others that she had been ordered to return home and that she would join them again next time to steal Seiji and everything belonging to Akane and Yuzu. She then approached Akane and told her that she was Shikimi's favorite toy. After that, she kissed Yuzu and told her to become even stronger. Shikimi then left them all behind. Guri quickly helped free everyone from Shikimi's restraints. Akane approached Seiji to ask if he was okay. Seiji replied that he was feeling a little dizzy. Akane then placed his head on her lap and apologized for involving him. Seiji admitted that it was a little scary, but he was sure Akane had her reasons. Akane thanked Guri for rejecting Shikimi's request. Suddenly, Guri announced that she had to record this moment because it was so rare for Akane to be nice to her. Just as Akane was about to say something, Seiji suddenly stopped moving. Guri immediately checked on him and realized that Seiji was not breathing. At that moment, Seiji's spirit was in heaven. He did not expect to find himself in a foggy place with a soft and shimmering atmosphere. He was also confused as to why there was an angel ring above his head. He wondered if he had actually died. Suddenly, Coralie appeared and told him that he was indeed dead. Seiji was shocked to see Coralie's true form. Coralie quickly transformed into a cat. Seiji asked Coralie what was happening since he had just been with Guri and the others. Wasn't he supposed to be immortal? Coralie was about to explain but said that he needed to take Seiji to the god's chamber first. Seiji entered a room that resembled a living room. He was curious about who the god really was. Suddenly, the god fell from the ceiling. Seiji asked if that old man was actually a god. The god immediately hugged Seiji and asked him to call him father. It turned out that the god was Guri's father. Meanwhile, Akane was crying and begging for Seiji to wake up. Yuzu suspected that Seiji's fever had gotten worse and blamed herself. Akane, on the other hand, planned to commit suicide so she could follow Seiji. Suddenly, Guri suggested that they try something. Akane agreed and was willing to do anything to bring Seiji back to life. Guri proposed that they give Seiji a kiss, like the one used to wake up a sleeping princess. Akane immediately kissed Seiji, but even after a while, he did not come back to life. Guri then stated that a living person would definitely die if kissed like that for 15 minutes straight. It was Guri's turn to give him a kiss. At first, Akane refused, but to save Seiji, she eventually allowed it. She turned her back and urged Guri to finish it quickly. However, just as Guri was about to kiss Seiji, Akane suddenly stabbed her in the head. Meanwhile, the god displayed a video of Guri, commenting on how serious her expression was, and then he started kissing the television. Seiji couldn't believe that someone like that was actually a god, let alone Guri's father. Taira arrived, bringing drinks for Seiji and the god. The god requested sake, but Taira scolded him and insisted he drink what she had brought. Coralie then reminded Taira to be more respectful when speaking to the god. Seiji found the place to be incredible, yet he did not feel nervous at all. He then asked if, since the god was Guri's father, Guri also had a mother. Coralie questioned why Seiji would ask that, but Taira answered saying that Guri's mother left because the god was unfaithful. The god, however, argued that he wasn't cheating, he simply loved everyone. Taira explained that there was a reason Seiji was brought there. The god wanted to speak with him directly and therefore had to have him die first. The god then asked Seiji what he would do if he were told that Guri would become the next god. Seiji replied that for the sake of all humanity, that should never happen. The god explained that being a god must be passed down through generations. Before Guri could become a god, there was something important she needed to have. The god wanted Seiji's help in teaching Guri about love, as love was the most crucial element needed to become a god. That was why he employed Guri as a cupid, but she ended up spending most of her time playing around instead. The god stated that something had changed ever since Guri met Seiji. As her father, he would be happy if Guri had the opportunity to grow, even if it was alongside an ordinary human. At that time, Guri still didn't understand love, but the god asked Seiji to take care of his daughter. Coralie warned the god not to bow before a human, but Taira took a picture of him doing so. Suddenly, a man appeared, calling the god troublesome. He claimed that the god was foolish for expecting his daughter to become a god by learning from a human. Seiji asked who he was, and the man introduced himself as the Demon King. The Demon King then asked if Seiji was Guri's boyfriend, saying that Seiji was nothing special and must be overwhelmed by everything happening. He tried to persuade Seiji to reject the god's request, suggesting that he must want a peaceful life. The god was confident that Seiji wouldn't be swayed by the Demon King's words, claiming that the Demon King was only after Guri. The Demon King admitted that he wanted Guri to fall into hell and switch careers to become a demon, because she was simply too adorable. In his opinion, cunning and captivating girls were extremely popular in hell, and if Guri held power there, the number of new demons would increase significantly. He argued that Guri was better suited to freely doing evil rather than becoming an angel. The god was furious, insisting that Guri shone brightly and that she was an angel. He warned that he would get angry if the Demon King kept talking that way. A fight then broke out between the god and the Demon King. Seiji suddenly voiced his opinion, saying that he felt Guri wouldn't want to do either of those things because she would likely get bored after just one day. According to him, Guri's life priority was always doing whatever she wanted, and she was not the type to listen to others. He then apologized for his rude remark, but the god admitted that Seiji was right. He had even forgotten that Guri had such a free-spirited nature. The Demon King stated that his plan didn't necessarily have to happen immediately. The god, on the other hand, expressed his happiness that a kind human like Seiji was genuinely looking out for Guri. Seiji's time in heaven had come to an end. The god warned that if he stayed too long, he wouldn't be able to return. He apologized for summoning Seiji so suddenly, explaining that he had really wanted to meet him. His Seiji was Guri's first love. As a god and a father, of course, he was curious about the kind of person who became Guri's first love. God assured Seiji that he didn't need to worry because neither he nor the Demon King would interfere with him directly. He also advised Seiji to enjoy his youth with the girls as much as he wanted, but warned him not to do anything perverted. Meanwhile, Akane was chasing after Guri simply because Guri had tried to kiss Seiji to save him. Akane continued to pursue Guri while throwing knives at her, but Guri just laughed because it seemed like Akane had gone back to being her usual self. Earlier, Akane had seemed gloomy due to the incident with Shikimi. Moreover, Akane thanking Guri was not something she would normally do. Yuzu tried to remind them not to fight because it was not the right time for it. She then looked at Seiji, who was lying motionless. She thought that waking someone up with a kiss only happened in fairy tales, but if that was what it took to bring Seiji back, she had to give it a try. Yuzu didn't actually want to do it, but she convinced herself that it was just compensation and also for the sake of her pride. Just as Yuzu was about to kiss Seiji, he suddenly woke up and their heads collided in shock. Akane immediately rushed to hug him, feeling incredibly relieved that Seiji hadn't died. Guri welcomed Seiji back and said he had come back to life. She then asked him how heaven felt, which left Seiji confused about how Guri even knew about it. It turned out that when Seiji died, Guri realized that he must have been in heaven. She then asked how her father was doing there. Seiji questioned why Guri had never told him anything about herself or her father before. Guri explained that she had absolutely no interest in anything related to heaven, as it would have been too boring to talk about. Akane scolded Guri, saying that the kiss earlier had been pointless. Guri responded by saying that Seiji had returned safely, and that Akane was back to normal, meaning the problem was solved. Seiji then wondered if he could actually teach Guri about love. That day, Seiji asked Aqua about her summer vacation plans. Aqua said she would be busy with her club activities. Initially, Seiji had wanted to invite her to the beach, so Aqua decided to join him. However, it turned out that they were going together with Guri, Akane, and Yuzu as well. They all took the train together, looking cheerful, though Aqua seemed slightly indifferent. When they arrived at the beach, the sky was bright and clear, and the girls changed into their swimsuits. Unfortunately, Guri was just playing a game under the umbrella. Seeing this, Seiji asked why she seemed so unenthusiastic. Guri said that she hated hot places, and besides, water and sand were dangerous for her game console. Seiji called her a homebody. Not long after, Akane approached Seiji and asked what he thought of her swimsuit. Seiji complimented her, and Akane was happy to hear it. Seiji kept staring at Akane's exposed chest. Seeing this, Yuzu called him a pervert for looking at Akane with such a lustful gaze and immediately poked his eyes. However, Akane admitted that she had bought that swimsuit just so Seiji would look at her. Seiji then turned his attention to Yuzu and told her she looked cute, but Yuzu poked his eyes again. She was annoyed and assumed Seiji must have said the same thing to every girl wearing a swimsuit. Akane invited Aqua to swim together since Seiji had told her that Aqua loved swimming. However, Aqua indifferently said she wanted to swim alone. Seiji found it odd considering it was Akane who had suggested going to the beach in the first place. Akane told Seiji not to worry about it, saying she would not give up on getting closer to Aqua, because in the future Aqua would surely become her little sister. Seiji and Akane played together at the beach, while Yuzu looked scared and was wearing a flotation device. Seeing Yuzu hesitate to go into the water, Seiji asked if she did not actually like the beach. Yuzu admitted that she could not swim. Seiji reassured her, saying she would be fine since she had a flotation device. Yuzu gathered her courage and, trembling, took a step into the water. Akane called out to Aqua, but Aqua immediately turned her face away. Meanwhile, a police officer was applying sunscreen to his gay partner's body, and the sight of it made Guri happy. Seiji was confused as to why Guri was not playing at the beach and asked her what she wanted to eat. Guri said she wanted shaved ice, grilled squid, pork, corn, shellfish skewers, a hot dog, and roasted sweet potatoes. Suddenly, a volleyball rolled near Guri, and two girls asked her to throw it back. Guri assumed they were lesbians and immediately threw the ball, but it ended up hitting Akane's chest and bounced back hard toward her. Akane then challenged Guri to a match. Guri accepted the challenge and quickly changed outfits. Meanwhile, Seiji was waiting in line to buy shaved ice. To his surprise, the vendor turned out to be Shikimi. Shikimi apologized for what happened before, but Seiji could not forget the cruel torture she had put him through. Shikimi pointed out that the wounds on Seiji's hands had already healed and admitted that she really wanted to save his heart. Naturally, Seiji stopped her. Shikimi then unbuttoned her shirt and said she wanted to thank Seiji with her body. Seiji quickly pushed her away and told her that a woman should not offer her body to a man so easily. Shikimi called Seiji boring, saying his sense of pride was too high for a virgin. She wondered why Akane even liked such a boring guy and claimed that Akane was not as fun as she used to be. Shikimi then talked about how, when Akane was a child, she never got angry or laughed. She used to look adorable as she stared people with her cold stare, as that was how she was raised by her mother. Shikimi then asked Seiji if he wanted to know more about Akane's family. At that moment, Akane and Guri were playing a volleyball match, going all out with such intensity that they sent people flying around them. Yuzu protected herself with the barrier she had and shouted, warning them that their match was dangerous. Aqua saw the whirlwind from the sea and could not believe how fierce Akane was. She recalled the first time Akane introduced herself as Seiji's future wife. To Aqua, it was ridiculous, and she thought Seiji had terrible taste. Not long after, she felt something swim past her at high speed, but she could not even tell what it was. It turned out to be Stolas. Just as Stolas was about to approach Aqua, a volleyball hit him. Akane rushed over to help Aqua and brought her to the shore. Yuzu asked what had happened to Aqua since her clothes were torn. Soon after, Stolas appeared, causing Yuzu and Aqua to tremble in fear. Akane declared that she would not allow Stolas to lay a finger on her future sister-in-law. Stolas and Akane prepared for battle. Meanwhile, Shikimi was talking to Seiji about Akane's family. She explained that the Kichogasaki family, which Yuzu belonged to, acted as a shield, while the Hiyama family, Akane's lineage, was a weapon. Shikimi came from a branch family responsible for supporting the main families. Seiji asked if Akane's and Yuzu's families were rivals. Shikimi clarified that their families, specifically their mothers, had a terrible relationship. Just as Shikimi was about to explain more about Akane's and Yuzu's father, Seiji interrupted her, asking her to stop. He was sure that learning about it without Akane's and Yuzu's knowledge would hurt them, so he preferred to hear the story from them directly. Shikimi had no problem with that, but she hinted that by the time that happened, it might already be too late. She wanted to have fun with Akane, and for that reason she wanted Akane to become stronger. Otherwise, Yuzu's family would destroy her. Back at the battle, Akane sustained a few injuries while fighting Stolas. Guri felt that Akane was in a tight spot. Stolas mocked Akane, calling her a pathetic girl. However, Akane declared that she would not lose over such minor wounds. Guri wished Seiji were there to help Akane. Aqua and Yuzu begged Akane to stop, but Akane had already promised to protect Aqua. In an instant, Stolas slashed Akane's body with his fin again, telling her that she was weak and incapable of protecting anyone. Hearing that, Akane remembered Shikimi saying that she was growing weaker. Stolas prepared to finish the fight and leaped toward Akane. But just in time, Akane caught him and slammed him into the ground. When Stolas attempted another leap, Guri threw a tennis racket at Akane. Akane caught it and swung it at Stolas midair, sending him flying far into the ocean. Akane smiled at Aqua, saying that the disgusting creature was finally gone. Yuzu praised Akane's strength in defeating Stolas. Not long after, Seiji arrived carrying plenty of food for them. On their way home, Akane explained that Stolas had attacked Aqua again. Yuzu asked where Seiji had been during the incident, suspecting that he was off flirting with girls. Seiji quickly denied it and turned to Aqua, asking if she had thanked Akane. Akane said it was unnecessary, but she was more interested in hearing about Seiji supposedly flirting. Suddenly, Aqua whispered to Akane that Seiji actually likes strong girls, so she had an advantage. Akane smiled and thanked Aqua. That night, Guri invited Seiji and the others to test their courage at school. Seiji was baffled by Guri's interests. He asked if it was okay for Akane and Yuzu to be out so late at night. Akane said she would go wherever Seiji went, and Yuzu added that she would go wherever Akane went. Seiji assumed the school gates would be locked at night, but Guri easily opened them. It turned out that Guri had found a pair of students and wanted to make them a couple. The students had heard that Guri was an expert matchmaker, so they wanted to try her service. Guri, along with Akane, Yuzu, and Seiji, also got involved. They all headed to the school rooftop. Seiji, who was standing at the very back, suddenly felt something strange behind him. Guri was hoping for something to appear at night in the school, like a muscular rugby player training while naked. Seiji then commented that there was no point in a courage test if done in a group, but according to the couple, it was actually better in a group because it would not be a problem if someone went missing. Akane, on the other hand, admired how beautiful the couple looked, always holding hands. She even called them the perfect pair. The couple smiled and said they loved each other so much that they would feel lost without one another. Unfortunately, the people around them did not accept their relationship and kept telling them to break up. Guri was surprised since they looked so compatible. The couple hoped that if they could show their love, people around them would understand. Akane then said she would support them. Guri entered a room while Yuzu looked frightened. Seeing this, Seiji told Yuzu that she could wait outside and did not have to go up to the rooftop if she was scared. However, Yuzu insisted she was not scared and that she would be fine as long as Akane was with her, even if the place was on fire, filled with water, or haunted by ghosts. Suddenly, Yuzu saw a ghost and screamed in fear. She told Seiji, but he could not see it. Akane suspected that Yuzu must have been seeing things. When Guri came out of the room, she commented on how their numbers had suddenly increased. When Seiji and Yuzu turned around, they both screamed in terror. They all ran as fast as they could while the ghost of a woman kept chasing them. When they reached the music room, Guri heard the sound of a piano playing and saw a painting moving its eyeballs. They ran again as more ghosts appeared, including a ghostly woman with a wide mouth chasing after them. They rushed up the stairs, but it felt like the staircase never ended. Many types of ghosts began to appear, but Guri was busy taking pictures of them. When a doll ghost appeared, Akane immediately sliced its head off. They quickly hid inside the sewing room. Akane and Guri were thrilled, enjoying the courage test. Seiji was confused as to why Akane was not afraid. Akane said that she would only hug Seiji if she were scared. Suddenly, something strange happened. Akane and Guri were magically pulled into a mirror. Yuzu and Seiji panicked when they saw Akane and Guri disappear. Meanwhile, Guri and Akane woke up on the rooftop. Guri was lying on top of Akane and was playfully squeezing her chest. Akane immediately pointed a knife at Guri's neck and asked what she was doing. Guri said she had no idea because when she came to, she was already on top of Akane. Guri guessed that they had been sent to the rooftop on purpose. The rooftop door was also locked. Guri suggested that they wait there since the rooftop was the final destination of the courage test and Seiji would eventually come to open the door. This was a good opportunity for Akane to have a private conversation with Guri. She asked if Guri truly loves Seiji. Guri said that she did, but Akane was not convinced. Akane pointed out that Guri had saved her even though she was her rival, and she felt that Guri was always playing tricks on Seiji. Akane told Guri that if she was only playing around with her friends, she should stay away from Seiji because it was troublesome. The couple then invited Seiji and Yuzu to the rooftop since the courage test would be complete once they reached the top. At that moment, Yuzu tripped and struggled to stand. Seiji immediately asked if Yuzu was okay. Yuzu replied that she was fine and she had only slipped a little. Seiji crouched down ready to carry her on his back. He acknowledged that even though Yuzu was scared, she had tried her best and he was sure that Akane and Guri were fine. Yuzu told Seiji not to tease her, but her legs could no longer support her weight. In the end, she had no choice but to let Seiji carry her so they could meet Akane on the rooftop. The couple mentioned that Seiji and Yuzu were a close pair. Yusuke hit Seiji on the head and said that she would never fall in love with him because Seiji belonged to Akane. Seiji then wondered why the ghosts had not appeared again. The couple was certain that Guri and Akane were distracting them. Hearing that, Seiji became curious about who those two really were, and the answer was behind the rooftop door. When he opened the door, Seiji saw Guri and Akane enthusiastically taking down the ghosts that were attacking them. According to Akane, those ghosts were actually weak. The ghosts were surprised that instead of being scared, Guri and Akane fought them without hesitation, even though all they wanted was to scare them a little. The couple cheered in excitement as they reached the rooftop. They thanked everyone because, at that moment, they could finally pass on peacefully. Seiji and Yuzu were shocked to hear that. In reality, the other ghosts did not want to let the couple move on happily. They wanted them to stay at the school. Guri explained that the couple were ghosts who had met and started dating, but the others did not accept them. The ghosts had promised that if the couple managed to reach the rooftop, they would be allowed to pass on. Guri then decided to make the ghost couple official with her love phone. Seiji had suspected from the start that something was off, and Yuzu only then realized that they had been helping a ghost couple all along. Guri hoped that they would remain a couple forever. The ghost couple floated away and thanked everyone before disappearing. Guri remained silent as she watched Akane hug Seiji. She recalled their earlier conversation on the rooftop. At that time, Guri had asked what love was and whether being together was not enough. Akane had replied that love was when happiness and sadness both cause pain in the chest. Akane then looked annoyed and questioned why Seiji was carrying Yuzu. She asked if Yuzu was a flirt and if Seiji was cheating on her. Seiji denied it and tried to explain, but before he could, Akane immediately stabbed him with a knife. Guri was still thinking about what Akane had said, that love is when you feel pain in your chest during both happy and sad moments. When Seiji and Coralie went to Guri's room, they were shocked to see Guri pointing a knife at herself. Seiji immediately grabbed the knife away and asked what was going on. Guri explained that she was curious about what that pain in the chest felt like. She had heard about it a lot in anime and manga, so she thought she would try it on herself. Hearing that, Seiji did not know whether she truly did not understand or if she just refused to understand. He firmly told her never to do that again. Guri insisted that she would not die, but even so, Seiji did not want her to hurt herself because it would make those around her sad. Seiji's mother brought out Aqua's yukata for Guri to wear. Guri wanted to wear a yukata for the festival, so she asked Seiji's mother to find one for her. She also wanted Seiji to wear a yukata, but Seiji said he was not going to the festival. Guri was frustrated and could not understand why Seiji refused to go. She begged him to come because she wanted to eat the snacks from the stalls and enjoy the fireworks. She had even made a schedule for it. Seiji told Guri not to decide things on her own, but his mother encouraged him to go to the festival with her, especially since he had nothing else planned. Seiji had no choice but to agree. That afternoon, Yuzu and Akane came to Seiji's house. Akane wanted to invite Seiji to the aquarium, while Yuzu refused to let Akane be alone with him, so she insisted on coming along. Akane was surprised to see Guri at Seiji's house. Seiji said he already had plans and ended up inviting Akane and Yuzu to join them. Yuzu then invited Guri to come along, but Guri refused. Seiji asked her not to be upset and to come with them, but she still refused, calling him stingy. Seiji had no idea why she was acting that way. Meanwhile, Akane questioned why Guri was even at Seiji's house. That day, Guri went to the bookstore alone, thinking it would not be a problem to go without Seiji. She reached for a book by Matildan, which was placed too high for her to grab. As she was struggling, a handsome man suddenly took the book and handed it to her. He had intentionally gotten it for Guri. She immediately asked if he liked men. The man replied that he preferred girls like her. He admitted that he had been interested in her ever since she walked into the bookstore. He then invited Guri to have tea with him. Guri thought his words were a bit cliché and wondered if there were still girls who fell for such lines. However, since she was sure Seiji would not be going anywhere with her later, she accepted his invitation. They spent time together playing claw machines and shooting games. After that, they had dinner at a restaurant. Guri was really happy and thanked the man for keeping her company. He told her that he also had fun. Guri even called him a god for appreciating her hobbies, treating her to her favorite foods, and being kind, unlike Seiji, her boyfriend. The man was surprised to learn that she already had a boyfriend. Guri admitted that even though everyone said she and Seiji did not act like a couple, she was starting to feel unsure about what love really was. She was not entirely sure what it meant to love someone, so she had been thinking about it. To be more specific, Guri and Seiji were dating even though she was unsure if she loved him or not. After all, there had been some pressure when they became a couple. According to Guri, Seiji gets angry easily, always complains, and never wants to go to the places she wants to visit. She also thinks he's very cold. The man understood that Guri and Seiji were arguing at that moment, which meant he had chosen the perfect time to talk to Guri. He told her that he would pamper her that day as a substitute for her boyfriend, and he was willing to accompany her to the places she wanted to visit. That evening, Guri invited the man to a festival. She made her shopping bags disappear and changed her outfit into a yukata. Seeing this, the man praised her for her impressive abilities, but Guri pointed out that he did not seem too surprised by them. If Seiji were there, he would have reacted differently, likely scolding her for using her powers in a crowded place. Guri decided to forget about Seiji for the day and refused to think about him any longer. The man took her hand, led her to buy some snacks, and play games together. He even gave her a ring. He then asked if he was going too far, considering she already had a boyfriend. Guri assured him that it was fine. She then asked if they looked like a couple. The man replied that they certainly did, especially since they were walking around the festival together. However, he did not mind if other people saw them that way. As the fireworks display was about to begin, the crowded atmosphere made the man suggest finding a better spot. He took Guri to a quieter place where they could enjoy the fireworks more peacefully. Guri was happy watching the fireworks in the sky when suddenly, the man remarked that he felt she did not truly like her boyfriend. He even suggested that she might not fully understand her own feelings. The man then asked what she thought about their date. Guri admitted that he was handsome, fun to be around, and respectful of her opinions. In her eyes, he was the complete opposite of Seiji. The man immediately pulled Guri into an embrace and said that he was a much better match for her. As they were about to kiss, Guri suddenly thought of Seiji. Without hesitation, she poked the man's eyes, causing him pain. Guri quickly apologized, saying she did not know why, but she just could not go through with it. She admitted that he was genuinely kind and even better than Seiji in many ways, but when it came to having fun, holding hands, and kissing, she still preferred Seiji. She thanked the man for everything he had done for her and returned the ring he had given her. Guri immediately ran off to find Seiji. Suddenly, she bumped into him. Seiji scolded her for running in the middle of the crowd. Shocked, Guri asked what he was doing there. Seiji retorted that she was the one who wanted to go to the festival, so he did not want to hear her whining. He even wore a yukata, just as she wanted. Seiji was surprised that she had gone to the festival alone just because she wanted to go so badly. Guri then kissed Seiji, catching him off guard. Guri told Seiji that she did not hate him and apologized for saying selfish things earlier. She also realized that whenever she wanted to go to a festival or anywhere else, she wanted to go with Seiji. Seiji was puzzled and suspected something was off with Guri. He asked if she had eaten something weird. Instead of answering directly, Guri blurted out that Seiji was not handsome, got angry quickly, was stubborn, oblivious, and overall boring, but she would never hate him. Seiji was confused, unsure whether Guri was insulting or complimenting him. He could not figure out what had happened to her. Just then, Akane and Yuzu approached them. Akane asked why Guri was there. Guri replied that she did not quite understand the pain she was referring to, but she believed she had made her choice. Seiji and Yuzu were both taken aback by Guri's words. Without warning, Akane pulled out a knife ready to aim it at Guri. Seeing this, Seiji and Yuzu tried to stop her. Meanwhile, the Demon King arrived to awaken the man who had dated Guri. The man didn't know why, but his eyes hurt, so he quickly ran away. It turned out that the man had been influenced by the Demon King to approach Guri. The Demon King was surprised that Guri was more challenging than he had thought, even though he had chosen a handsome and sincere man, just Guri's type. Coralie arrived, suspecting it was the Demon King's doing, especially since God had said the Demon King wouldn't interfere. The Demon King claimed he hadn't interfered directly. Besides, he didn't want Guri to hate him. However, he hadn't expected Seiji to mean so much to Guri. Coralie reminded the Demon King that if he did anything to Seiji, God would be angry. The Demon King admitted he wasn't that evil, as he couldn't meddle with fate either. He asked Coralie to inform God that he wouldn't interfere anymore. The next day, Shikimi was threatening a man to confess, even going so far as to stab his hand. Not long after, Akane's mother approached her asking Shikimi to do her job more elegantly, not in such vulgar clothing. Shikimi apologized and asked why Akane's mother had come to see her. Akane's mother inquired about Akane's relationship with the man in the photo. At that time, Akane was being interrogated by her mother, who called Akane pathetic for being interested in a man and letting her heart be stolen even though she had never raised Akane that way. Akane's mother ordered her to break up with Seiji immediately, and Akane complied. That day, Coralie met Seiji in the park, asking how Guri had been lately. Seiji said that Guri had seemed strange at the festival, but since Guri was always weird, he felt she was just the same as usual. This meant there was no progress with Guri. Coralie asked if Seiji had forgotten God's request. Seiji said he hadn't forgotten, just that he was busy. However, according to Coralie, Seiji was just playing around like at the beach, test of courage, and festival. Seiji said teaching love to Guri was impossible because it was too embarrassing for him, and Guri was foolish. Suddenly, someone shot Seiji in the head, leaving a hole. The shooter was surprised that Seiji was still alive. Meanwhile, Guri took Yuzu to a cafe where the waitresses dressed like cats. According to Yuzu, the tea tasted cheap, and the service quality was poor. Hearing that, the cat waitress became grumpy. Yuzu even said that if Guri wanted that, she could prepare it at her home. Her family had delicious tea and real servants, as Yuzu was truly the daughter of a wealthy family. Yuzu even invited Guri to visit and stay at her house. Guri suggested they have a pajama party as girls usually do with their female friends. Guri asked if Yuzu didn't have friends. Yuzu said she had a mission to protect Akane, so she didn't need friends. Guri said that she and Yuzu were already friends, so she wanted to have a pajama party with her. Yuzu called Guri very kind and asked if Guri knew about her strange condition, where something appeared to deflect danger when she was in peril. It could be called a family business because Yuzu's family worked to protect important people and valuable items, so she had that ability since she was little. When Yuzu was a child, she couldn't control her power, which scared many people. Yuzu asked if Guri remembered what she first said when they met. At that time, Guri praised her and called her cool. Yuzu was very touched because no one had ever said that to her. She was happy to be friends with someone who did. Guri asked Yuzu to invite Seiji to stay over, but Yuzu didn't seem to agree yet. Suddenly, Teru approached Yuzu and whispered something to her. Seiji and Coralie ran as the shooter continued to chase them. Seiji could not understand why this was happening to him, and Coralie asked if someone held a grudge against him. At that moment, a tall, muscular man attempted to stab him, but luckily, Aqua managed to take him down. Aqua had heard Seiji's scream while running nearby, so she rushed in to help him. Coralie introduced himself to Aqua, but this only frightened her. Seiji quickly asked Coralie to step away from Aqua. Aqua then asked Seiji why he was involved with those people. Seiji did not even understand who they were. He suspected that it had something to do with Shikimi, but suddenly, Shikimi appeared and claimed that she was not that cruel. Meanwhile, Akane recalled her childhood. She was sharpening a knife and it brought her a sense of peace. Seeing this, her mother always praised her, as it was a tradition in their family. Her mother warned her that if she ever gave her heart to someone else, it would only become a weakness, and no knife would be sharp enough to save her. Since childhood, Akane had always believed that she would never give her heart to anyone. When Akane was a teenager, a boy confessed his feelings for her, but she rejected him. She no longer considered herself a child who would blindly trust her mother's words, but she still believed that people became foolish when they cared for others. She first met Seiji when he ran into her while chasing Blue, his pet cat. He crashed into her chest and fell. Akane immediately drew her knife. Seiji quickly apologized and explained that his pet cat had gone wild and scratched him, making it impossible for him to see anything. Akane dismissed it as none of her business and walked away. Seiji then asked if she was hurt since he had bumped into her quite hard. Hearing this, Akane found Seiji strange. His injuries were far worse, yet he was worried about someone else. Akane handed the cat back to Seiji, pointing out that it was injured. Seiji explained that he was trying to take it to the vet, but it had panicked and run away. Without even realizing why, Akane wrapped a bandage around the cat's leg. Seiji praised her for being so kind and said the cat was lucky. Seiji's words of praise echoed in her mind, making her want to see him and hear his voice again. The more she thought about it, the more it consumed her, until, before she knew it, she had fallen in love with Seiji. Shikimi hugged Seiji tightly, saying it had been a long time since they last met. Seiji asked if Shikimi had sent people to attack him. Shikimi accused him of thinking too poorly of her. If she had wanted to attack him, she would not have sent others to do it. Aqua told Shikimi to stay away from her brother, convinced that Shikimi was working with those people. Shikimi was surprised to learn that Aqua was Seiji's younger sister. Seiji then asked if Shikimi knew why he was attacked. Shikimi revealed that it was Suo, Akane's mother, who had ordered her and those people to harm him. She also revealed that Akane was being held captive by her mother, all because of Seiji. Akane's mother had discovered that Akane was dating Seiji. In Akane's family, members were forbidden from giving their hearts to others, especially falling in love, and Akane had broken that rule. Shikimi also warned that Seiji might never see Akane again. Yuzu and Guri had already learned about Akane's situation from Teru. Shikimi urged Seiji to help save Akane, saying that even she did not want Akane to be unable to see the one she loved. Seiji was unsure about what to do. Akane did not like it when he asked about her life at home, so if he went to save her, he might just be causing her trouble. Frustrated, Aqua kicked Seiji and scolded him for hesitating to save his own girlfriend. Since she did not trust Shikimi, she decided to go with them. Meanwhile, Yuzu was unsure what to do, believing that Akane's mother would only keep Akane away from Seiji and their friends. Guri encouraged her, reminding Yuzu that she was usually good at handling gender and family issues, so she should be able to deal with Akane's mother as well. Yuzu was overjoyed by Guri's words and became determined to rescue Akane. At the same time, Seiji finally made up his mind. He was going to save Akane. That day, Yuzu and Guri arrived at Akane's house. Teru reminded Yuzu that they should not be doing this, but Yuzu said that they had come this far and could not turn back now. Guri stated that she and Yuzu would not attack Akane's house. Instead, they would resolve things through peaceful discussion. If necessary, Guri would even scare Akane's family with her Sakura tattoo and the Proud Fire Brigade chief emblem of Tokugawa. As the gate opened, several guards were already stationed to protect Akane's family residence. One of the guards asked if Yuzu understood that this was the home of the Akane family. Yuzu demanded that they return Akane to her. The guards immediately attacked Yuzu and Guri, but they struggled to keep up because Yuzu and Guri were incredibly agile. Yuzu and Guri threw love gas bombs, instantly turning the guards into homosexuals. Guri then invited Yuzu to enter the house, while Teru remained frozen in fear. Guri opened many doors until they finally reached the room where Akane was. Yuzu smiled as soon as she saw Akane, but to her surprise, Akane's knife grazed her cheek. Akane then asked why Yuzu was there. Yuzu said that she had come to save Akane. Akane called that idea ridiculous and immediately told her to go home, insisting that Yuzu should not have come. Yuzu refused to leave without bringing Akane back. Guri remarked that Akane was not acting like herself, especially since she had attacked Yuzu. Akane quickly turned to attack Guri, declaring that this was her true self. However, Guri did not believe her and even asked if Akane had placed her heart somewhere else. Akane attacked Guri again, prompting Guri to declare that if that was how things were going to be, she would steal Seiji for herself and do whatever she wanted with him while Akane was gone. Akane indifferently stated that she did not care because it was no longer her concern. She had stopped pretending to be part of that couple, and this was her own decision. Guri was confused because Akane had previously talked about her future with Seiji. She asked if those were not Akane's true feelings. Annoyed by Guri's endless talking, Akane threw a knife at her, but Yuzu's powers managed to shield Guri. Akane demanded that Yuzu stay out of her way. Yuzu said that she did not want to die before being bonded with Akane. She also stated that perhaps one day the time would come when she had to bear the burden of her family, but she would not use that as an excuse to distance herself from Akane. She would not discard her words or her feelings. Suddenly, Suo, Akane's mother, greeted Yuzu and told her to stop leading Akane down the wrong path. She also recognized Guri as one of Seiji's girlfriends and asked if Guri and Akane wanted to become pathetic women. Guri told Akane's mother that she was wrong. She declared that Akane was her friend and that she had come to bring her friend back. Meanwhile, Seiji, Aqua, and Shikimi had arrived at the entrance of Akane's family residence. Aqua had already defeated all the guards. She was still puzzled as to why the guards immediately attacked as soon as she and Seiji arrived. Suddenly, Shikimi threw Coralie toward Aqua, making her panic. Seiji did not understand what Shikimi was trying to do, but moments later she grabbed him and kicked him. Guri and Yuzu were equally shocked to see Shikimi and Seiji. Akane's mother was also surprised that Shikimi had brought Seiji. According to Shikimi, all roles had to be present, and this was her way of making things more interesting. She said she was also doing this for Akane. Seiji called out to Akane as soon as he saw her, but Shikimi quickly stopped him. She said that if Akane no longer needed Seiji, then she could have fun playing with him instead. Shikimi repeatedly stabbed Seiji and Yuzu could not bear to watch it. Shikimi continued stabbing him, wondering aloud what Akane might be thinking at that moment, whether she was sad, angry, or reverting to her old self. Whatever the case, Shikimi was thrilled by it. Shikimi kept stabbing Seiji and asked if he was feeling any pain. If he was, and he needed to let that pain out. However, Akane remained silent. Yuzu could not bear to watch and rushed to help, but Seiji stopped her. He said that yes, it hurt, but he was used to it. After all, it would hurt far more if Akane was the one stabbing him. Seeing Akane begin to waver at his words, Akane's mother suddenly slapped her and ordered her to prove that she had not betrayed her expectations. Akane had to be Seiji to prove it. Meanwhile, Yuzu's mother arrived in front of Akane's mother's house. She commented that the house looked outdated and tacky, much like Suo's rotten personality. It turned out that Taro had contacted Yuzu's mother because he could not handle the situation alone. Akane approached Seiji and removed his restraints, preparing to beat him. Yuzu tried to stop her, but Guri held her back. Akane stated that she no longer loved Seiji and even said goodbye before attempting to beat him. Yuzu pleaded with Guri to let her go, saying she had to stop Akane. Instead, Shikimi hugged Yuzu to prevent her from getting closer to Akane. With a terrified expression, Seiji asked Akane if she had made some kind of deal, just like before. Akane told him to understand. Seiji, however, could not grasp why Akane was saying such things. He asked why she was saying goodbye. Was it because her mother had ordered her to, or was it because Seiji had come to that place? Seiji told Akane that if she wanted to kill him, she could, but he wanted to talk to her first. Moreover, no one would believe her with an expression like that. Akane then burst into tears and threw her sword aside. She asked why Seiji had not left while he still had the chance, saying she did not want him to hate her any more than he already did. Seiji took Akane's hand and told her that he did not hate her and never would. Akane immediately embraced Seiji, saying that she had been ready, that she had completely given up, and that she was doing it all for Seiji. But in the end, she just could not go through with it because she loved him too much. At that moment, Guri began teasing Akane, saying she was curious about what was going on with her. After all, Akane had previously refused to have anything to do with Seiji. Guri even suggested that if Akane's love for Seiji was that weak, she should just be honest about it. Otherwise, Guri would easily steal Seiji away. Akane immediately grabbed Guri's head, annoyed by how much she thought she knew. Guri, however, claimed that as a Cupid, she understood Akane very well. No matter how hard Akane tried to put on a sharp gaze or deny it, her love for Seiji was obvious. According to Guri, Akane would look far cuter if she was honest about her feelings. Annoyed, Akane threw Guri aside. Guri's know-it-all attitude frustrated her, and she was even angrier because everything Guri had said was true. Suddenly, Akane's mother threw a sword at her, which Akane managed to block. Her mother was disappointed with Akane's response. She did not even want to hear her reasons anymore. Out of nowhere, Yuzu's mother, Ameisha, appeared, shocking everyone. Ameisha remarked that Suo was as cunning as ever. She explained that she had come because she had heard Yuzu was in trouble. Ameisha immediately told Yuzu to leave, but when she saw the cut on Yuzu's cheek, she became furious and marched towards Suo. Ameisha said that Suo should not involve others when venting her anger, calling her gloomy and saying she despised her. Suo, however, dismissed her, saying Ameisha was still as childish as ever. Ameisha and Suo moved to the rooftop to start their battle. Ameisha was confident that she would defeat Suo that day and make her cry, but Suo remarked that such thinking was childish. Suo prepared herself, wielding multiple swords in her hands. The battle grew more intense, while their children could do nothing but watch from below. Guri commented that the situation had become too far removed from reality, making her wonder if her own existence was just too ordinary. Meanwhile, Seiji turned to Akane and Yuzu, asking what was really going on. Akane began to explain that her family, known as the Hiyama family, was involved in what was called an underground business. They eliminated problematic elements upon request from important people and organizations, and their clan carried out these tasks professionally. Yuzu then explained that her family was the complete opposite. Her family's clan was dedicated to protection, regardless of who sought their help. Seiji recalled the terms weapon and shield that Shikime had mentioned earlier. Seiji stated that he had no issue with it and had always felt that there was something different between Yuzu and Akane. However, he was still surprised to learn that they lived in completely different worlds. Even so, that did not make Seiji think any less of them. Ameisha and Suo had never gotten along because their family businesses were at odds. However, they both fell in love with the same man, Akane and Yuzu's father. Even though Ameisha and Suo once doubted each other, they were able to get along for a brief period. As Ameisha and Suo continued to fight fiercely, Ameisha questioned how much longer Suo would fail to move on, pointing out that this was why her husband left her. Suo's family had prevented her from pursuing the man she loved, and leaving the family was an unforgivable act. Since then, Suo had completely devoted herself to the family, hoping that she could forget everything. Akane had been raised her entire life to be just like her mother, but she wanted to be with Seiji, even though she knew it was wrong and perhaps just a dream. Suddenly, Akane declared to her mother that she loved Seiji even if it made her seem pathetic, even if it meant betraying her, and even if she had no idea what the future held. Akane also said that she understood if her mother hated those who fell in love, but according to Guri, that was not true. Guri stated that Akane's mother did not hate her at all. In fact, her love was far greater than anyone else in that place. Suo did not understand what kind of nonsense Guri was spouting. Guri told Akane that, in truth, her mother loved her and never hated anyone. Suddenly, Suo threw a sword at Guri's head, calling her annoying for daring to say such things. Amisha laughed at Guri's absurd statement about Suo. She admitted that even she had never understood Suo in the past. But Akane was exactly like her mother. In Amisha's eyes, Akane was doing much better than Suo had back then because she had the courage to fight for what she wanted and refused to give up. Amisha called Suo too stubborn and questioned the point of protecting Akane so fiercely just because Suo had once been hurt. She accused Suo of wallowing in sorrow after being abandoned by a man, yet instead of mourning, Suo had given up and taken out her frustration on her own daughter. Amisha claimed that she had never acted that way. Even when her husband ran off with another woman and did as he pleased, she remained true to herself. She would neither hate nor cry over him. Amisha also stated that her husband had been drawn to her optimism and she, in turn, liked herself for it. She took pride in loving her husband, and that had nothing to do with anyone else. Akane then said that she would accept any punishment her mother decided to give her, but she asked for permission to continue loving Seiji. No matter what happened, she refused to abandon her feelings. Her words were identical to what Yuza had once said. Seiji admitted that he might not have the right to say anything, but he promised never to do anything that would make Akane sad. He also asked Akane's mother to trust her daughter. Amisha called Seiji brave, but Suo stated that she did not care about him. She told Akane to do as she pleased if she was that determined, but that did not mean she forgave her. Akane understood and stood by her words. Suo warned that if she ever saw an opportunity, she would eliminate Seiji. Despite this, Akane thanked her mother for her decision. Guri immediately grabbed Akane's hand, feeling happy that the problem seemed resolved. However, Akane suddenly slapped Guri for kissing Seiji earlier. Seeing Akane behave that way, Guri was certain that she had returned to her usual self 100%. Akane immediately chased after Guri, trying to stab her with a knife. According to Shikimi, it felt like everything became boring whenever Guri showed up. Guri dodged Akane's attacks and said that she only wanted to help her friend. However, Akane responded by asking since when they had become friends, stating that their relationship was actually one of rivalry. Hearing that, Guri simply smiled, which disgusted Akane. Amisha told Suo that maybe their relationship could also be considered a rivalry, but Suo refused to acknowledge it. Yuzu approached Akane and Akane gently stroked Yuzu's cheek, apologizing for causing her injury. Yuzu felt flustered and said that any wound she received from Akane was a gift. Akane also apologized for borrowing Yuzu's words. Yuzu reassured her that it did not matter as long as Akane was okay. Akane then kissed Yuzu on the forehead, thanking her for saving her. Receiving such treatment, Yuzu felt like she was going to die from happiness. Amisha could not understand why Yuzu reacted that way. Suo then informed Amisha that her daughter had fallen in love with Suo's daughter and that she was also dating Seiji. Hearing this, Amisha was shocked and demanded an explanation from Teru. Terrified by Amisha's anger, Teru immediately panicked. Amisha was furious because she had specifically asked Teru to report everything about Yuzu to her. Meanwhile, Seiji told Akane that he did not understand complicated things, but he asked her to talk to him if something happened because at the very least he could listen. While being held back by her mother, Akane thought about a future where she could no longer see Seiji. Even though she knew that one day they would have to part ways, she still wanted to be with him. And then that day arrived. She decided to spend the rest of her life cherishing her happy days, knowing she no longer needed to give up. Akane felt incredibly grateful for falling in love with Seiji. Seeing Seiji and Akane together looking happy, Guri suddenly felt something strange. That day during the school break, Akane choked Guri after seeing her touch Seiji. Seiji tried to calm her down and asked Guri not to provoke her. He was confused because he thought the two of them had already made up after what happened yesterday. Seiji then offered to treat Akane and Guri to something, and both of them were interested upon hearing that. Unfortunately, it seemed that Seiji had left his wallet in the classroom, so he went back to get it, and Akane offered to accompany him. Seeing Akane and Seiji getting closer, Guri started to feel like an outsider, even though she was a Cupid. Meanwhile, Akane walked down the school hallway with Seiji, and they talked about the upcoming cultural festival. Akane was excited and could not wait for it. Seiji felt that lately Akane had been in a better mood, except when she was arguing with Guri. Akane admitted that if she did what her mother told her, she would not be able to walk with Seiji like that, and that moment was the happiest she had ever felt. When they arrived at the classroom, they were surprised to see Shikimi sitting in Seiji's seat. Shikimi said that she enjoyed sitting there, and upon hearing that, Akane immediately pointed her knife at her and asked what she was doing. Shikimi then introduced herself as a new transfer student in Seiji's class. The next day, Ameisha reminded her daughter, Yuzu, not to go to Akane's school again. Yuzu agreed to follow her mother's words, and Ameisha said it was for her own good. Yuzu then asked her mother to trust her. Knowing Yuzu's personality, Ameisha suspected that her words might not mean much, but at least she had done what she could to prevent it. After her mother's car had left, Yuzu felt extremely annoyed. She ignored her mother's warning and still went to Akane's school that morning. That day, Akane looked very down. Just as Seiji was about to explain the situation to Yuzu, the teacher suddenly entered the classroom and announced that there was a new student. Shikimi then entered and introduced herself. Yuzu was shocked to see Shikimi in Akane's class and almost rushed toward her, but Akane quickly held her back. The day before, Akane had asked Shikimi if she was planning to do something to Seiji. In response, Shikimi asked if Akane had forgotten her promise to their mother. According to Shikimi, Akane should have understood that their mother did not fully approve of her relationship with Seiji. That was why Shikimi had been assigned by Suo and Ameisha, and the two had even made peace to achieve the same goal. They wanted Shikimi to observe Seiji. Shikimi also told Akane that there was no need to be too cautious because she would not do anything as long as there were no problems. During class, Shikimi said that she was already familiar with Seiji, Akane, Yuzu, and Guri. She acted very friendly toward her classmates, which made them admire her. Many of the male students liked her and wanted to ask her out. While talking to Mary, Shikimi invited Akane to join them, but Akane ignored her and left immediately. Shikimi commented that Akane probably still hated her, to which Mary responded that Akane only cared about Seiji. That afternoon, Yuzu called Shikimi to talk on the rooftop. Shikimi asked why Yuzu had called her there. Yuzu told her that her fake innocence was annoying. Shikimi admitted that acting that way was suffocating. Yuzu then asked what she was really planning and why she transferred to that school. Shikimi asked if Akane had not told Yuzu. Yuzu said that Akane did tell her, but she thought it was too much, especially since Akane had just started feeling better. Shikimi stepped closer and asked if Yuzu truly believed that, and if that meant Yuzu did not want to separate Akane from Seiji. Yuzu pushed her away and told her not to say that again. Shikimi called Yuzu strange, saying that if she really wanted Akane, she should get rid of Seiji. She then asked if Yuzu was doing all this for Akane, for Seiji, or if she actually had feelings for Seiji. Yuzu denied it and said that she only loved Akane. Shikimi responded that in that case, her actions should not be a problem. She would not do anything as long as there were no issues. After all, that was what Ameisha had ordered her to do. However, in Shikimi's eyes, Yuzu seemed conflicted. Yuzu recalled her conversation with her mother in the car. Yuzu told her mother that no matter what she said, she had no intention of giving up on Akane. Her mother then asked how she felt about Seiji. Yuzu replied that Seiji meant nothing to her and that she actually hated him. Her mother said that if that was the case, then it would be easy to get rid of Seiji. Hearing this, Yuzu responded that she could handle it herself. She was confident that she was not wavering. That afternoon, Seiji was eating shaved ice with Akane and Guri. Seeing Akane eat her shaved ice so quickly, Seiji told her to slow down. Akane admitted that she could not stop feeling anxious as long as Shikimi was at their school and close to Seiji. Suddenly, Yuzu arrived and assured them that everything would be fine. Yuzu was confident that Shikimi would not act outside of Ameisha and Suo's orders, even if she was at the school. However, Akane pointed out that while Yuzu might have a point, Shikimi's actions were unpredictable. Seiji speculated that Shikimi enjoyed seeing them all in trouble and suggested that perhaps they should show her that everything was going smoothly. Hearing this, Akane had a different idea. She wanted to show Shikimi that she and Seiji were a loving couple. Akane then said that all Seiji needed to do was kiss her in public. Seiji and Yuzu were both shocked. Seiji was baffled by Akane's idea, but Akane explained that they needed to demonstrate that they were a real couple. She also pointed out that up until now, she had been the only one making advances and Seiji had never once tried to kiss her. Yuzu immediately opposed the idea and Seiji also refused, especially in public. However, he proposed a condition. He would do it if Akane and Guri could get along. Seiji wanted everyone to be on good terms. Guri asked what was in it for her, and Seiji promised to treat her to something. With that, Guri easily agreed. Seiji thought it would be impossible for Akane, but Akane, though trembling, claimed that it would be easy for her to get along with Guri. Guri then extended her hand, inviting Akane to get along for the sake of Seiji's kiss. Akane hesitantly agreed. Meanwhile, Yuzu started feeling uneasy and did not want to let Seiji kiss Akane. That day, Mary announced that their class would perform a play for the upcoming school cultural festival. She had made the decision herself because the class could not reach an agreement during discussions. Guri said it was a fantastic idea and even wanted to do a superhero show. However, Mary had already prepared the script. Seiji then asked where Yuzu was. Guri informed him that Yuzu was in the student infirmary because she was not feeling well. Seiji recalled that she had looked unwell that morning. Mary wanted to finalize the casting for the play. There were 3 main roles: the princess as the main heroine, a male knight, and a romantic rival. One of the male students suggested that Shikimi would be perfect for the role of the princess. However, Shikimi claimed that she was not suited for the part. Some of the male students insisted and offered to support her, so she finally agreed to give it a try. Another male student suggested that Akane should play the knight. Mary pointed out that the knight role was meant for a male character, but Shikimi said she wanted Akane to play the part. When Mary asked Akane, she accepted the role but requested that Guri play her romantic rival. Seiji told Akane that she did not have to go that far, but it turned out that Akane was doing it so she could get along with Guri, which would result in Seiji kissing her. Guri accepted the role, saying it would be fun to be paired with Akane. While writing her name on the board, Guri mentioned that she knew Akane's real goal was to have Seiji kiss her. Shiken revealed that when she first met Seiji, he was the one who kissed her. This revelation made Akane struggle to contain her emotions. Seiji still had doubts about whether Akane and Guri could truly get along. At that moment, he noticed Yuzu talking to herself. When Seiji called out to her, Yuzu was so startled that she tripped. Fortunately, Seiji caught her, and she ended up landing on top of him. Yuzu was confused about whether she was really in love with Seiji. To confirm her feelings, she suddenly kissed Seiji. However, even after doing so, she felt nothing. Seiji was completely shocked after Yuzu kissed him, and before he could react, Yuzu quickly ran away. That day, the students were preparing for their class play for the school's cultural festival. Mary asked Seiji if he had heard anything about Yuzu since she had not seen Yuzu at school lately. Hearing Yuzu's name, Seiji suddenly became nervous. He admitted that he did not know anything about it and said that Yuzu might just be busy with personal matters. Meanwhile, Yuzu repeatedly banged her head on the desk, shocking both her teacher and classmates. She felt like something was wrong with her. She still could not believe that she had kissed Seiji. Only Akane was supposed to be able to move her heart, but for some reason, Yuzu's heart raced whenever she thought about Seiji. Suddenly, she declared that she must have done something weird because her hatred for Seiji had grown even stronger. Yuzu quickly left the school, feeling like she could not control herself that day. Out of nowhere, she saw Seiji waiting for her. Yuzu panicked and immediately ran, but Seiji easily caught up with her. When he tried to place his hand on Yuzu's shoulder, he was hit by the protective barrier around her, making him wince in pain. Though he claimed he did not feel anything. Seiji asked why Yuzu had stopped coming to school since that incident. Yuzu said that was not the reason she had stopped going to Seiji's school. Seiji then wondered if the kiss was just Yuzu's way of teasing him and had no special meaning behind it. He also understood that Yuzu clearly hated him. Seiji had come to see her because he wanted to help. He told her that she had also been given a role in her class play for the school's cultural festival and handed her a costume along with the script. He mentioned that Akane's costume looked really cool, and he thought Yuzu might enjoy the play as well. Yuzu asked if Seiji had come all this way just for that. Seiji admitted that honestly he had thought Yuzu had stopped coming to school because of him. He was relieved to know that he was not the cause and that he now understood how Yuzu felt. Suddenly, Yuzu punched Seiji and told him not to decide her feelings for her. She then quickly ran away. When the day of the cultural festival arrived, the cast of Akane's class play got ready. Shikimi, Akane, and Guri were already in their costumes since the play was about to begin. Seiji was given the role of a tree. As the play started, Seiji admitted that Shikimi's acting was truly impressive. Suddenly, all the students cheered excitedly as Akane appeared. She looked incredibly cool in her costume, but unfortunately, her acting was terrible. She even forgot her lines. Guri then appeared from atop a tree and approached them. Out of nowhere, Akane asked if Shikimi was the reason Yuzu had stopped coming to school, but Shikimi remained professional and continued acting. She said she was torn between the 2 knights and did not know whom to choose. She then asked them to fight for her. Guri urged Akane to continue the play, saying that Yuzu was the type of person who could recover on her own, unlike Akane. Hearing that, Akane immediately got angry and challenged Guri to a fight. Guri said that she was only trying to make Akane stop worrying about Yuzu. Akane had promised to get along with Guri, but since they were performing a play, there was no need for them to be friendly at that moment. Akane and Guri began fighting while Shikimi approached Seiji. She reminded him not to move since he was playing a tree. Suddenly, Shikimi asked how Seiji's kiss with Yuzu had been. Seiji was shocked that Shikimi knew about it. Shikimi then wondered aloud what would happen if Akane found out about it. Suddenly, Yuzu arrived and apologized for being late before rushing over at Akane. Akane suspected that Yuzu had skipped school because Shikimi had said something to her. Out of nowhere, Shikimi threw Seiji into the middle of their group, leaving Akane a puzzle as to why she did that. Yuzu admitted that she had kissed Seiji of her own free will, and she did not even understand why she did it. She wanted to confirm her feelings, which should have never wavered, yet she could not find an answer. She could not understand her own emotions, but the fact that she loved Akane would never change. She was supposed to feel nothing when kissing someone else, making her believe she was the worst kind of person. Akane gently held Yuzu's cheeks and reassured her that she understood her feelings. She knew Yuzu was worried about it because she loved her so much. Akane hugged her and told her that it was okay if she loved someone else besides her. She encouraged Yuzu to face her feelings, as doing so would make things easier. Guri commented that Akane had matured. Akane then pointed out that Yuzu was more honest and easier to read than both herself and Guri. Overwhelmed with emotion, Yuzu teared up and declared that Akane was the person she loved most in her entire life, and that would never change. They all then resumed their drama performance. Akane suddenly remembered that if she could get along with everyone in front of a crowd, Seiji would kiss her. With that in mind, she immediately kissed Guri, causing the entire audience to applaud. After the play, Seiji approached Yuzu to talk. Yuzu admitted that she still could not face her own emotions, but she also confessed that she was sick of Seiji. Even so, she did not hate him. No matter what happened, Akane would always be number one in her heart, and she warned Seiji not to get a big head about it. At that moment, Akane was brushing her teeth while Guri was still trying to process what had happened during a play. Akane admitted that she was reflecting on the worst decision of her life, and at that moment, she despised herself. Guri pointed out that it should not be a problem since they had already kissed. Suddenly, Shikimi appeared and noted that Akane and Guri had already made up. Akane stated that there was no point in Shikimi trying to separate them, and that she would not let things go according to Shikimi's plans. Shikimi then asked if she had made Akane angry. Guri answered that Akane was upset because Shikimi had interfered with Yuzu. Shikimi insisted that she had not meddled with Yuzu at all, and that everyone knew Yuzu was interested in Seiji. She then asked if Guri felt anything about Yuzu and Akane growing closer to Seiji. Guri fell silent upon hearing this. That day, Seiji's family was not home. Aqua was getting ready to go to her friend's house, and Seiji asked to make sure she was not staying over at a male friend's place. Aqua got annoyed because she had already told him multiple times that she was only staying at a female friend's house. Instead, she reminded Seiji not to invite any girls over while their parents were away. Seiji was confused since Guri was also a girl and stayed at his house. That day, Seiji had not seen Guri, which meant he was alone at home. Not long after, the doorbell rang. Seiji thought Aqua had come back because she had forgotten something, but when he opened the door, it was actually Akane. She greeted Seiji and guessed that his family was not home. She was sure he must have been feeling lonely, so she decided to stay over. Seiji immediately refused, but Akane said she would cook for him. Seiji insisted that a girl should not be staying in a boy's house, but Akane did not mind because they were dating. On top of that, she reminded him of his promise to kiss her. Seiji had completely forgotten about it, and at that moment, he was definitely not prepared. Suddenly, Guri walked out of the bathroom wearing only a towel and asked why Akane had come over. This, of course, made Akane furious, and she immediately threw several knives at both Guri and Seiji. Guri told Akane not to be mad because she and Seiji were just living together, and nothing inappropriate had happened between them. Seiji clarified that Guri was not at his house every day. She was more like a stray cat that came and went as she pleased. Not long after, the doorbell rang again. This time, it was Yuzu, who had also come to stay over. It was her first time seeing a boy's bedroom. Guri said there was nothing special about it, but told Yuzu to make herself at home. Yuzu was shocked when she noticed a magazine under the bed, but it turned out to be Guri's precious doujin, which almost caused a huge misunderstanding. Seiji then asked if Yuzu and Akane were really sure about staying over at his place. Yuzu said she could not allow Akane and Seiji to be alone under the same roof. Akane then questioned why Guri was allowed to stay while she was not. In the end, Seiji agreed to let Akane stay. Suddenly, the doorbell rang again. This time, it was Shikimi. Seiji immediately locked the door, but Shikimi quickly broke in. She hugged Seiji and said he was cruel for leaving her behind. Akane told her to leave, but Shikimi insisted on staying because she wanted to have fun with everyone. She then threatened to report their sleepover to Sugo and Amesha, which made Yuzu immediately object. With no other choice, they allowed Shikimi to stay. That day, Seiji took everyone to the shopping mall. He was overwhelmed trying to keep up with them, whether it was accompanying Guri to buy snacks, saving Yuzu from the crowd, or even getting punched by a woman whose boyfriend had been hit on by Shikimi. Akane was in charge of cooking dinner for everyone and Yuzu offered to help. Meanwhile, Shikimi and Guri started playing games. Seiji felt like it was some kind of summer training camp or something similar. Suddenly, Yuzu accidentally cut her finger while chopping onions and started crying. She said cooking was too dangerous. Meanwhile, Akane skillfully chopped ingredients at high speed. Seiji treated Yuzu's wound by putting a bandage on her finger to prevent infection. Not long after, dinner was ready. Seiji and Yuzu praised Akane's cooking, saying it looked amazing, while Guri and Shikimi were puzzled because they were only served bell peppers and lettuce leaves. As Yuzu and Seiji were about to eat, Guri and Shikimi suddenly snatched their food away in an instant. Their dinner turned into a chaotic mess. That night, Seiji soaked in the bath to relax, but to his surprise, Guri was secretly recording him shocking Seiji. He shouted and tried to stop Guri from filming him, and their commotion was loud enough for Akane to hear. Akane opened the bathroom door to ask what was going on. When she saw Seiji in the bath, she immediately apologized and pulled Guri out of the room. Suddenly, Shikimi was right next to Seiji, causing him to scream again. That night, Seiji cried, feeling violated, but Akane suddenly appeared and told him she would still accept him. Grateful for being allowed to bathe at Seiji's house, Yuzu immediately ran to the bathroom to use Akane's leftover bathwater. Suddenly, Blue, Seiji's pet cat, acted unusually affectionate toward Akane. Seiji found it strange since Blue was not typically friendly to strangers. Akane explained that Blue still remembered her. It was then that Seiji realized Akane had come to his house to collect on his promise to kiss her. Akane told him she would not be happy if he did it unwillingly, and besides, they did not have to do it right away since they still had plenty of time. Without warning, Seiji kissed Akane, stating that he was the one who made the promise and that he simply wanted to do it. Akane was overjoyed and thanked Seiji, even expressing how much she loved his personality. It turned out that their intimate moment had been witnessed from inside the house. Shikimi asked Guri if she did not feel anything after seeing such a romantic scene. Guri responded that she did feel something because she was a Cupid, so seeing a loving couple made her happy and she genuinely enjoyed it. Seiji set up bedding for everyone in his room while he planned to sleep in the living room. He told them to get along and they agreed. Yuzu even jokingly warned Seiji not to sneak into the room while they were asleep. As soon as Seiji left, Akane immediately tied up Shikimi to prevent her from leaving. Yuzu was thrilled to be sharing a room with Akane for the night. Shikimi pleaded for Akane's trust, but Akane bluntly told her that she would never trust her for as long as she lived. Meanwhile, Seiji lay down in the living room feeling worried about all of them. However, he assured himself that if anything happened, he would handle it. The next morning, the foot suddenly kicked Seiji in the face. At first, he thought it was Blue's, but it turned out to be Guri's. Apparently, Akane, Yuzu, and Guri had moved to the living room during the night to sleep next to Seiji. He woke up, startled to see them all so close to him, especially when he noticed Shikimi lying beside him without any clothes on. Shikimi casually stated that she preferred sleeping naked. Seiji then questioned why they were all sleeping near him. Shikimi explained that Akane had attacked her when she tried to sneak into Seiji's bed last night. Yuzu had been sleepwalking and Guri had simply appeared there. That morning, Aqua returned home and was shocked to see Seiji surrounded by girls. Seiji tried to explain that they had all sneaked into his sleeping area, but Aqua refused to believe him. To her, the fact that he allowed girls to stay over would not change, and she immediately labeled him a pervert. Seiji desperately pleaded for Aqua to listen, but instead, she hit him and claimed he had changed. As she walked out of the house, Guri followed her. Annoyed, Aqua asked how long Guri planned to keep following her. Guri asked Aqua if she wanted to be noticed by Seiji. According to Guri, when Aqua said that Seiji had changed, it meant that he was not paying attention to her like he used to. However, Aqua denied it. Guri believed that Aqua was like a tsundere little sister because her older brother was now spending time with his new girlfriend. Before Aqua could explain, Guri said that she understood and suggested making Aqua more honest like she used to be. Guri took Aqua to a feminine clothing store, wanting her to wear cute and feminine clothes like before and to be straightforward about wanting to be spoiled by Seiji. Guri asked the store clerk to find something adorable with lots of frills. The clerk presented some outfits to Aqua, but she refused to wear them. After leaving the store, Guri invited Aqua to buy crepes. When Guri offered her a crepe, Aqua immediately refused. Guri suspected that Aqua was deliberately holding back from wearing cute clothes and eating sweet foods. Aqua was confused about why Guri was making assumptions about her based on her imagination. Guri simply stated that she also knew that Aqua did not actually hate Seiji and called her a tsundere. Guri said that if Seiji had not stopped her, she would have already added Aqua to his harem. Aqua asked Guri if she truly liked Seiji because, compared to the others, Guri did not seem to act that way. Guri said that lately many people had been asking her the same question, but she did not understand what they meant. Aqua admitted that she was not sure either, but she felt like something was off. She doubted Guri's feelings because Guri was always playing around. However, if people were questioning it, that meant something was lacking in Guri. Aqua then quickly left Guri. While in the elevator, Aqua was still thinking about Guri's words about her holding back from cute clothes and sweet foods. She believed that feminine things did not suit her. As she stepped out of the building, she suddenly saw people running in panic. It turned out that Stolas had appeared again and was looking for her. Stolas said that he had spent time in the wilds, survived natural selection, and that the time had finally come for him to become one with Aqua. Aqua immediately ran away from Stolas. She went to an amusement park and hid under a slide. While there, she started crying and thought of Seiji. She felt that she should not rely on her older brother and had to handle things herself, but she was terrified. Suddenly, Coralie approached her, startling her. Coralie asked if Aqua was sick because she looked pale. Out of nowhere, Stolas appeared and shouted at Coralie to stay away from Aqua. Stolas attacked him, sending Coralie flying. When Coralie scolded Stolas, he ignored him and went straight toward Aqua. As Stolas reached out to touch Aqua, Coralie immediately struck him. Coralie admitted that he did not understand the situation, but it was clear that Aqua did not like Stolas. Stolas was furious and asked if Coralie intended to stand in the way of their love. As Stolas prepared to attack Coralie, it seemed that Coralie had no choice but to reveal his true form in front of Aqua. Coralie transformed into a radiant angel, his presence so bright that he even turned the rain into clear skies. He declared that he was an angel and would punish Stolas. Stolas did not care that he was facing an angel. He was determined to eliminate anyone who stood in the way of his love. The battle between Stolas and Coralie began, but Stolas was instantly defeated. He was shocked that none of his attacks landed on Coralie. Coralie had purified Stolas' cruel heart and ordered him to return to being a normal penguin. However, Stolas unleashed a powerful wave of dark energy, revealing a form that resembled a high-ranking demon. Coralie urged Aqua to flee, as the situation had become too dangerous for her. However, Aqua was worried about Coralie. Coralie reassured her that he would be fine because an angel's duty was to protect the innocent. Just as Stolas was about to strike Coralie, Aqua suddenly kicked him in the face. Stolas was stunned. He had always believed that he and Aqua shared a mutual love. Because of that single kick, Stolas disappeared. Aqua felt relieved, finally free from Stolas' disturbing advances. Coralie praised her for being amazing, admitting that even though he had wanted to save Aqua, she had ended up saving him instead. After that, Aqua felt weak since it was the first time she had ever defeated Stolas. Coralie gently patted her head and told her that she had grown up because she was able to overcome her own weakness. He said that Aqua had finally found the right path, and hearing his words moved her. Not long after, Seiji approached Aqua. She immediately asked why he was there. Seiji explained that Guri had called him and told him that Stolas had appeared. He then asked if Aqua was hurt or if Stolas had done anything to her. Aqua quickly silenced Seiji and told him that she had already defeated Stolas, so everything was fine. Seiji could hardly believe it, but Coralie confirmed that it was true. Seeing Coralie's true form surprised Seiji. Coralie explained that Aqua had faced her own fears. Hearing that, Seiji praised her, but Aqua suspected that he was making fun of her. Seiji assured her that he genuinely thought she was amazing. He had always been by her side, so he knew how terrified she had been of Stolas, which was why he was so shocked. Hearing those words, Aqua realized that Seiji had never really changed. She had thought they had grown distant ever since he got a girlfriend, but in the end, he was still her big brother. Seiji asked once again just to make sure she was okay, and Aqua told him that she had grown. Seiji was genuinely happy and relieved to hear that. Not long after, Guri finally found Seiji and Aqua. As she was about to approach them, she suddenly remembered what Aqua had said, that something seemed to be missing from Guri. At that moment, Shikimi walked up to Guri, who looked troubled and offered to listen to whatever was on her mind. Seiji, meanwhile, was confused as to why Guri had not come to him yet. That day, Seiji searched every corner of his house for Guri, but he could not find her. He told Coralie that she was nowhere to be found. Seiji then asked if Aqua was not disgusted by Coralie's true form. According to Aqua, Coralie's true form was soft and beautiful, so there was no way she could feel disgusted by him. Coralie felt happy and said that Aqua was the type of person who truly understood beauty. Seiji considered this a fair trade for Aqua, overcoming her trauma with Stolas. Coralie then said he could not just sit around and relax. He had to go search for Guri. Coralie once again borrowed Blue's body to move around more easily, but after transforming into Blue's form, he suddenly became frightened. Seiji, however, was confident that Guri would eventually return home on her own. The next day at school, Akane seemed cheerful. She immediately hugged and greeted Seiji. Akane was happy because she had not seen Guri lately, and she felt like everything was peaceful without her around. User asked Seiji if Guri had still not come home yet since she had not seen her for quite some time. Akane, on the other hand, hoped that Guri would never come back. Seiji reassured them that whenever Guri disappeared, she always returned within 3 days. Yuzu then pointed out that Seiji should be worried, especially since Guri's love phone was unreachable. What if something had happened to her? Seiji, however, believed that worrying about Guri was a waste of time. Suddenly, Coralie appeared and demanded that Seiji take the search for Guri seriously since she had been missing for over a week. Seiji then asked if God knew where Guri was. Coralie explained that God's television had mysteriously broken down without any apparent cause. Akane suggested that they just let Guri stay missing since, in her opinion, no one was bothered by her absence. Coralie then reminded them about their duty as matchmakers, and Seiji suddenly realized the importance of their task. Coralie warned that if they failed to find Guri and complete their matchmaking duties, all of their souls would disappear. Seiji was frustrated by such a cruel punishment, especially since he had no idea where Guri had gone. Yuzu then asked if they did not feel lonely without Guri. Ever since they first met her, this was the longest they had gone without seeing her. Yuzu admitted that she wanted to find Guri not because of their duty, but simply because she wanted to see her again. Coralie was touched to know that Guri had a friend like Yuzu. Meanwhile, Shikimi was helping Mary carry some things. Mary apologized for troubling her, but Shikimi assured her that it would have been too difficult for her to carry everything on her own. As they walked, they passed by Mr. Nakido, who was putting up a pamphlet. When he saw Mary, he was so surprised that he stumbled and fell. Mary quickly helped him back up. Watching this scene, Shikimi seemed to have some mischievous plans regarding Mr. Nagido and Mary's relationship. At the same time, Seiji was deep in thought, realizing that it had been quite a while since he last saw Guri. He tried to stay calm, hoping that she would suddenly appear on his shoulder, but that did not happen. Deciding to search for her later, he continued with his day. That was when Shikimi went to Mr. Nagido's office, claiming that she did not understand part of the lesson he had taught in class. She introduced herself as one of Mary's friends. Mr. Nagido greeted her kindly and asked which part she did not understand. Shikimi moved closer to him and pressed her body against his, clearly attempting to seduce him. Suddenly, Seiji saw this happening from across the room. Without hesitation, he rushed over to Shikimi and pulled her away. When Seiji arrived in front of the storage room, he asked Shikimi what she had done to Mr. Nagido. Shikimi immediately grabbed Seiji and pulled him into the storage room. She approached him and said that he must really want to play with her. Seiji replied that he only wanted to ask her something, and besides, she should not be touching Mr. Nagido. Shikimi then asked if it was because Mr. Nagido belonged to Mary. She also mentioned that seeing them being affectionate in front of her only made her want to steal him even more. She was also very confident that Mr. Nagido would soon fall for her because he was so naive. Seiji forbade Shikimi from doing such things because it would ruin Mary and Mr. Nagido's relationship. Shikimi called Seiji childish, saying he would not understand because it was easy for her to do. However, Seiji believed that anything Shikimi stole from others would never truly become hers. He then asked if she still had anything she had taken from someone else in the past. According to Shikimi, there was no need to hold onto something if she could take it so easily. Seiji was almost drawn into her words, but quickly reminded her not to interfere with Mary and Mr. Nagido. Shikimi then asked what he wanted from her. Seiji asked if she knew anything about Guri, who had not been around lately. Shikimi asked if she looked like she had done something. Seiji responded that it was just a hunch. Shikimi laughed and asked if Seiji did not trust her to the point where he was suspicious of her, just based on a feeling. Seiji then pointed out that Shikimi did not need anyone's trust anyway. Annoyed, Shikimi cornered Seiji against a locker. She was irritated that he spoke so arrogantly yet acted as if he had no interest in her. She admitted that she had met men like that before, but in the end, they all bowed down to her. Shikimi then restrained Seiji's body and moved closer to him, declaring that he would be hers. Seiji firmly stated that he would never belong to her. Without hesitation, Shikimi kissed him. Smiling, she said it was easy for her to get what she wanted. Seiji responded that no matter how much she forced him, he would never be hers. Shikimi kissed him repeatedly, seemingly doing it on purpose in front of Guri. It turned out that a few days ago, when Shikimi offered to listen to Guri's concerns, Guri agreed and they talked in a cafe. Guri revealed that many people had told her that something seemed off about her and she had started to feel it too. She had been happy loving Seiji, but lately she had been feeling uncertain. The more she thought about it, the more her head hurt. Shikimi suggested that Guri distance herself until she figured things out. She also advised Guri to find out what made her different from Akane and Yuzu. If Guri changed her perspective, she might see something new. After hearing this advice, Guri decided to follow it. When Seiji searched for her to bring her food, she hid on the rooftop of her house. She enjoyed watching him look for her and understood her feelings well. At school, she saw Akane and Yuzu getting closer to Seiji. She should have been happy about it, but instead, she felt a bit uneasy. Guri remembered Akane's words that love meant feeling pain in one's chest, whether in happiness or sadness. She had just begun to understand what that meant. The truth was, she was bored because she had not talked to Seiji for a while. She hoped that he would find her so she could suddenly appear and surprise him. However, Seiji could not find her, and that day he was seen with Shikimi. Seiji had not been able to break free from Shikimi and was hoping that someone would come to help him. Suddenly, the ceiling of the room cracked and collapsed moments later. It turned out that Akane had arrived, filled with intense anger. Frustrated, she demanded to know what Shikimi had done to Seiji. Without hesitation, she started throwing knives at Shikimi. Shikimi, unfazed, claimed that Seiji had been the one who invited her to the storage room. Shikimi said that Seiji did it because he was trying to take away something precious from Mary. Yuzu then arrived and was shocked by what was happening. She immediately tried to help Seiji. Akane mentioned that Shikimi had not changed since they were kids. In her opinion, Shikimi was afraid to create something with her own hands, so she only desired things that were already complete. To Akane, people like Shikimi were pathetic. Shikimi was surprised that a puppet like Akane had the audacity to say such a thing. Akane admitted that she had changed since falling in love with Seiji, and even Yuzu had changed because of him. She believed that people who never changed, like Shikimi, should be left alone forever. Shikimi did not care and claimed that she was not jealous of Akane. She even said that she was not the only one who had been left alone. Moments later, Guri fell to the ground. Everyone was shocked. Guri greeted them and asked if she had been found. Shikimi immediately approached her. Seiji was furious, realizing that Shikimi had known where Guri was all along. Shikimi explained that Guri had never actually disappeared. She had always been near Seiji. It was Seiji who had never taken the search seriously. Seiji became even more frustrated and demanded to know what she meant. He said that everything had been in chaos ever since Guri disappeared, and even Yuzu had been extremely worried about her. He then asked if that made Guri happy. He knew she liked to play around, but he thought this had gone too far. Yuzu urged Seiji to listen to Guri's explanation before blaming her. Shikimi then asked Guri if she had found her answer by distancing herself. Guri admitted that she still did not understand. Shikimi suggested that she should just ask. Guri then asked Seiji if he had been worried about her and what his feelings for her were. Seiji loudly declared that Guri's existence had been annoying since the first day they met. That statement was painful and echoed in Guri's mind. Even Yuzu was shocked that Seiji could say something so cruel. Suddenly, Guri surrounded herself with black feathers. Coralie arrived and was shocked to see her. He immediately asked what Seiji had done to her. Shikimi was delighted and asked if this was enough. Suddenly, the Demon King appeared and praised Shikimi's work. Seiji was surprised and asked why the Demon King was there and what his connection to Shikimi was. It seemed that Shikimi and the Demon King had been working together to make Guri end up like this. The Demon King thanked Seiji and transformed Guri's appearance. Because Seiji had pushed Guri into a corner, the Demon King was able to guide her into her true form. Guri's appearance changed. She now had black wings and horns, making her look like a demon. Seiji could not believe it and assumed it was just cosplay. Coralie stated that the worst thing that could happen to an angel was turning into a fallen angel. Guri had truly become a demon. Shikimi admired her captivating new appearance. Guri then asked what happened to her. The Demon King explained that she had been reborn from an angel into a demon. Without hesitation, Guri took flight to carry out her new duty as a demon. Seiji pleaded with her to explain everything. Guri approached Seiji and apologized for causing him so much trouble. She told him that she was now a demon and had to fulfill her duty. Yuzu urged Guri to wake up and come to her senses, but Guri claimed that the Guri they knew no longer existed. Shikimi declared that Guri's transformation was Seiji's fault. Then both the Demon King and Shikimi vanished. Seiji was still confused about why Guri had changed and why it was supposedly his fault. He could not even understand what he had done. Coralie was furious and demanded to know why Seiji had been so cruel to Guri. He explained that the only reason an angel became a love angel was because they doubted the concept of love. Yuzu suddenly ran off, saying that rather than figuring out the cause, they should focus on chasing after Guri. Coralie agreed, realizing that they no longer had time to argue. Meanwhile, Guri started carrying out her task by destroying love in every couple she encountered. Once Guri erased the love from their hearts, they would suddenly start fighting and hurting each other. The Demon King asked if Guri was ready to go to hell, but Guri said she wanted to clean up the mess she had made when she was an angel by eliminating love from the couples she had previously helped. Yuzu asked what Guri was doing, and Guri replied that she was removing love from couples because they did not need it. Yuzu refused to accept that and told Guri not to say such things. Guri was about to erase the love in Yuzu's heart, but fortunately, Coralie stepped in to save her. Coralie urged Guri to come to her senses and reminded her that she was a Cupid. Guri simply said that her working hours were over and then disappeared. Yuzu declared that she had promised to go and bring Guri back together with Seiji. Before long, the Demon King and Shikimi also vanished. Seiji arrived and asked what all the commotion was about. Coralie scolded him, calling him slow. Yuzu informed Seiji that Guri was already gone. Coralie blamed everything on Seiji, but Seiji told him to stop putting all the blame on him. Yuzu agreed that it was all Seiji's fault for rejecting Guri. She believed that Guri was acting this way because Seiji had not taken her seriously. Akane argued that the one at fault was Guri, not Seiji. Yuzu insisted that she had promised to bring Guri back together with Seiji and invited Akane to join them, but Akane refused. In fact, she hoped that Guri would disappear forever. Yuzu argued that Guri was a precious friend, but Akane did not consider Guri a friend at all. Yuzu reminded Akane that when she was captured, Guri had come with Yuzu to rescue her. Was it not their turn now to save Guri? Akane did not care and did not want Seiji to get involved with Guri any further. Yuzu ran off, calling Akane an idiot. Seiji tried to chase after her, but Akane held him back. However, Seiji apologized and said he would rather go after Yuzu. Akane was left speechless, unsure of what to do.